Yo, what's going on, Louie? Guys, my second Lindsey Graham shiner from the team this morning. Nice, man, nice. Can you hear me okay? Hopefully you can. Crucial will probably join us later, but he's not here right now. All right, here we go. We got some breaking news today. Let me just get everything where it needs to be. Boom. Cool. All right, so guys, it seems like we're all just but waiting on an extreme strike from Trump. So let me start this off like I always do. What's going on, YouTube? Right now you're watching the live stream of 7-29 Iran war updates. We got some pretty big news today. But if you're watching on YouTube, just know you're watching the live stream. This may be the VOD for that. I usually do update videos once we got enough breaking news to really go through it all. So check those out. Make sure to like and subscribe, though. I would really appreciate the sub on YouTube. But let's get into the news. Here we go. Reading questions on TikTok, YouTube, X, everywhere. All right, let's go. So we're going to go through the breaking news as it came in from our main sources. We have more fighting in Yemen, guys. And with Yemen, it is all of the tribal groups that are fighting for control in the Yemen civil war. So we're going to be reading about that, and as well as the surprise attack that Iran did on Jordan U.S. military bases yesterday. They launched supposedly 5 missiles at U.S. bases yesterday in a surprise attack, and all of them, according to the U.S. government, were intercepted. But we have seen some footage that says that one of them did hit a U.S. base and did make a direct hit. So we are going to be seeing whether that's true or not today, and we're also going to be seeing that all the breaking news about what's in Saudi Arabia, and a surprise thing happened. A U.S. tanker was hit in Egypt, and we will be discussing whether or not that was an Iranian drone. That's what Trump is saying, or if it was possibly something else, because logistically it just doesn't make sense that a drone was able to hit all the way in the Egyptian waters. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start from last time we were on live, like usual, and we're going to go through the news here. So, let's see. All right, so practically not anything insane has happened yet, but we are waiting for it. Right now on flight radar, we have had, for the past 2 hours, more air refuelers in the air than we've possibly ever seen before since the ceasefire broke. Right now in the air, and these guys have been up for a while, a couple hours actually. We have an E-3B Sentry, which is one of the surveillance planes that we've been seeing flying around. We also have one refueler in the air, and then another Airbus that's been flying around. And this one is not labeled by country. We can assume it's maybe a Saudi Arabian aircraft, but it is labeled as a military aircraft. Also in the air, we have another refueler that keeps appearing on and off radar, heading south in Saudi Arabia. Now, guys, all of the traffic signal today has seemed a bit jammed. So a lot of the flight radar that we're looking at here, stuff keeps appearing on and off radar, keeps going crazy basically, and we don't really know for sure what is where or stuff like that, but when we do see it pop up, we know that it's there. So for example, guys on TikTok, just so you know, I'm showing the stuff on YouTube. I can't show it all on TikTok because it's not my content directly. So if you want to hop over, it's JaredOnAnIsland, just like you see there above me. But like this aircraft, for example, we don't know where it was when it flew over Saudi Arabia because it seems to have turned its transponder off, or maybe its signal was jammed, but it reappeared over the this Strait of Hormuz, and then it came back and turned on again when it seems now to be landing back in Israel. We also have one more that seems to have just entered Saudi Arabian airspace. So that makes a total of about 4 or 5 refuelers in the air, if not over Saudi Arabia itself. This signals to us that something could be happening in terms of U.S. airstrikes on Ansarallah or the Houthis, who are located in Yemen, which is directly south of Saudi Arabia. Or it could signal that maybe we're doing more strikes on Iran. But we do know something is going to happen because Trump has told Fox News earlier today that we're going to bomb the effing S out of Iran. So reading y'all's TikTok comments, thank you for the follow, by the way. Maberzan. We also had a question here I saw a second ago, but now I lost it in all these people. Let's see. Mean Gene, thank you for the follow. I don't see the comment now. Maybe, oh, here it is. Do you think whatever will happen soon? Yeah, I think it's going to happen either tonight or tomorrow, if not right now. Wacky Jackie, thank you for the follow. Agoli 14, Trump won't do anything. He has said he will and he won't, like 100 times just in the last month. Yes, but the thing that makes this different now is that we have to strike back in order to basically do that tit-for-tat attack that we've been doing. Now, the interesting thing is that Iran's attack yesterday was supposedly a surprise attack because no one saw it coming. Now, let's be real here. U.S. surveillance could, of course, saw it coming as soon as it launched. So for them to say that, it's completely diplomatic, trying to make Iran seem like the aggressors. So the justification for a strike here has to happen, or else it makes Trump look really weak. Basically letting Iran attack us with nothing to be done about it. So it will happen. It will happen. Now, the question is, when will it happen? Trump has been saying that whenever the markets are about to open, Trump says we're negotiating, we're very close to a peace deal, Iran wants to give up. And then as soon as Iran strikes back, it shows that that wasn't really true. But it doesn't really matter to Trump and the people in the government, because as long as Trump makes those positive comments, the markets go up. Yesterday during the live, we took a look at the oil cost of oil, and we saw that it was going down big time because it seemed like Trump was telling everyone that there was going to be peace. But to everyone that's been watching these lives, as well as anyone who actually knew, that seemed like a complete farce, right? So then as soon as Iran did launch that surprise attack, the cost of oil shot all the way back up. So nothing really happened. Agoli, thank you for the follow, man. You say, just drop the big one on them. No point in negotiating. I mean, at this point, Iran probably feels the same way. Iran feels like we've lied about negotiations this whole time from us and Israel. So not really too sure why we're still pretending to negotiate here. Another refueler jet has just reappeared on the east side of Iraq, very close to Iran. So there's definitely some sort of strikes going on, guys. Now, the GPS signal is pretty much jammed, so we don't know for sure where it exactly is located, but we can guess it's somewhere here just based off how it's came back on and off. So, Hey Bud says, you have no clue what a Iranian regime is thinking. I mean, they actively tell us what they're thinking. Why would it be hard to guess? From their perspective, they had a fatwa on building nukes from their previous leader. 90% of their leadership has been blown up by U.S. or Israeli missiles, and they feel like they own the Strait of Hormuz because the U.S. and the surrounding countries disrespected their sovereignty. And to them, it seems like Israel wants to make sure that they'll never be a threat to their country. So we can assume that they're not happy. It's not that hard to tell that. Angel, thank you for the follow, man. Yeah, so here on YouTube, guys, Jared on an Island, we're looking at all of this stuff right here. Come check it out. We're looking at radar, explosion footage, war footage, maps of Iran. We're looking at marine traffic, so all the ships, tankers, and stuff like that. And we're also reading the breaking news from plenty of sources on Zitter and X and other places like that. So here we go. So let's see. So this is from the Financial Times. Top ships insurers have told brokers that they will not sell war cargo insurance to Saudi Arabia-linked ships in the Red Sea following attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels, and a further risk to oil exports from the region. Several of the leading marine war insurers at Lloyd's of London Market said on Friday that they would exclude vessels with any Saudi touch points from coverage. Two brokers said, including ships traveling under other flags that have made past calls at Saudi ports. So guys, that is big news because that's basically saying insurers no longer want to make sure that Saudi-based ships are safe because they know that there's the potential for them to be blown up, for them to be set on fire, for them to practically be destroyed, right? So those brokers don't want to cover those insurance costs. Okay. Thank you guys for the follows. A user, lots of numbers. Thank you for the follow. Gen X Mama, thank you for the follow. Jonas, thank you for the follow. Scouting Bob says, President Trump won by a landslide victory. 2 more glorious years, then 8 more with JD. Okay. Scouting Bob, what do you think of this war, man? Next comment says, the U.S. is insuring ships now. Okay. Okay, so here we go. This is from Routers. Iran is expected to receive within weeks a first shipment out of up to 400 Chinese-made shoulder-fired air defense missile launchers, 3 sources familiar with the deal told Routers, as it rebuilds its defenses amid war with the United States. The purchase, valued at $60 to $70 million, is one of Tehran's largest known efforts to strengthen its short-range air defenses since the outbreak of its war with the U.S. and Israel, which exposed gaps in Iran's ability to protect military sites and strategic infrastructure. The contract covers the purchase of between 300 and 400 man-portable air defense systems, which is the acronym is MANPADS, including Chinese-made QW-12 and FN-16 missiles, the source said. So guys, this means that Iran is going to be getting Chinese weapons. Now, we have heard previously Trump kind of berate and threaten China by saying China cannot make any sort of weapons exchange with Iran. But it seems like there is deals still being made here, regardless of the fact. Now, will Trump give some sort of punishment to China for doing this? We don't know yet, but this does seem like an escalation. Now, if Iran gets these weapons, in my own opinion, I don't think that they will be as devastating as maybe people might think. But the possibility of aircraft being threatened over the air is not good for the U.S. Air Command, right? It is not good for the U.S. Air Force. It's another risk that, of course, they're not going to want to take. So, yeah, somebody said the rockets are Temu specials. Yeah, they're definitely not going to be as sophisticated as, let's say, U.S. anti-air weaponry, but 400 of them is a large threat to, the U.S. Air Force operating in the area. Okay, so we're going to keep reading the news here. Ansarullah has announced the downing of a Turkish-made Vestel UAV operated by the Royal Saudi Air Force over northern Yemen. It marks the second Turkish-made drone type operated by Saudi Arabia to have been shot down by Ansarullah within just a matter of days. So just more devastation across the board, showing that drones are being taken down from the Saudi Arabian military because of Ansarullah, which is one of these groups in Yemen. Okay. So let me read y'all's comments. Yeah, Andy Z, yeah, go on YouTube, Jared on an Island, and you'll see all the maps, footage, where right now I have pictures up of the U.S.-Saudi strikes in Iraq, giant explosions, stuff like that. Louis says, Trumpsurance, yeah. Beeg, thank you for the follow. Reading y'all's comments too on TikTok, but if you go to YouTube, I'm definitely going to be able to read your comment first. Louis says, Iran has been incredibly successful taking down U.S. aircraft. They're absolutely not Temu garbage. It's actually the contrary. Interesting. I mean, like the amount of aircraft that have been over Iran, especially at first, they actually did manage to get a couple, which is a big deal considering how powerful and how expensive those are. Jen Mama, you're happy to be here. Thanks, man. Finn says Rubio and President get it right. Interesting. Scouting Bob says love it. 47 years overdue. That's crazy. Uh, here for real fun says everyone has the right to defend itself. Trump lost the war. Okay, your analytics is based on rumors, bro. Well, actually, no, it's not. We have a lot of proof for everything that I'm saying here. Now, when I say it's in my opinion, that's speculation. But the stuff that's actually happened, we have proof that it's happened. Pua says the YSA can give weapons to Israel. I assume you mean the USA, but yeah, good point. I mean, the USA gives weapons to a lot of countries, that China doesn't like specifically. So, something interesting about that. U.S. gave 3-ton bombs to Israel to target non-military targets. We have given Israel like defensive weapons like Patriot missiles and stuff like that. But I'm not too sure about the specifics for that. So guys, I'm on YouTube right now reading the news. There's a lot of comments coming in. So I'm going to keep reading the news here so that you guys are up to date with what's happening. So Iraq's Popular Mobilization Forces announced the deaths of 20 of its members and another 32 injured from the US-Saudi airstrikes last night. And in case you guys don't know, Saudi Arabia and the US did a joint airstrike on eastern Iraq, which is where a lot of these pro-Iranian groups are, that are allied with or like in connection with Iran. So it's a big deal because that whole area is like practically an anarchy zone right now with so many tribes trying to take control. And that means they're literally lands closer to Israel. Okay. Next one, Iran considered attacking a seaport in Ukraine in response to a Ukrainian strike on an Iranian ship, but a flurry of diplomacy has calmed the situation for now, according to Iranian and Western officials. Some people briefed on the intelligence said that they expected Iran to fire a ballistic missile with a small warhead at Ukraine to make a symbolic point, but caused relatively little damage. Other officials said the target was probably one of Ukraine's Black Sea ports. And that's from the New York Times, guys. So, if in case you didn't hear, Ukraine actually stopped and took over one of the Iranian oil vessels that was in the area. That is a big deal because Ukraine is actually relatively close to Iran. And Iran could strike Ukraine with a cruise missile, with a long-range ballistic missile. And if that were to happen, people are questioning, Ukraine-Russia war is still going on. Would that give Russia more leverage to join in for them to support Iran in a different way? Or would that give us more of a say that we now have to say, we do have to get involved because they're attacking an ally of, NATO, Europe, the United States. So it's kind of an escalation if they were to do that. But it seems like from the New York Times that diplomacy, which means people talking behind the scenes, the officials talking, were able to say, like, let's not get that deep involved. So guys, there's always diplomacy during war. That's an example of it. But in my opinion, in my own speculation, I think things are still going to escalate here. So we got to be careful. So, and that was about 15 hours ago, so 10 hours ago, Ansarallah are considering imposing fees on ships passing through the Strait of Bab el-Mandeb. So that is the other, how the Strait of Hormuz is on the north side of Saudi Arabia? This is the other side of Saudi Arabia, and it's a big deal. Louis says, Iran has been incredible. Okay, yeah. 24 MQ-9s downed. Chinese-made SHORAD on its way. Interesting. Okay, so here we go. Continuing here. Yesterday, just in case you guys didn't know, during Senator Lindsey Graham's funeral, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was there, and so was Ukrainian President Zelensky. Supposedly, according to this report, Zelensky's office sought to arrange a meeting with Netanyahu on the sidelines of Senator Lindsey Graham's funeral, but received no response from the Israeli side. Therefore, no meeting ultimately took place. And guys, that's a big deal because, Zelensky and Netanyahu are of the same religion, but when it comes to their diplomatic actions together, they actually seem to be not in agreement with each other fully. Yeah, I'm not saying that those countries are in NATO, Alonzo. I'm just saying that they have close ties with them. Uh, okay, so continuing here. Yeah. So so when it comes to this is a big deal just because if both of these countries are involved, it could improve relations between them. Same thing with a meeting happening between the two leaders. Obviously, they have shared interest in some ways, but also they kind of take from each other. Zelensky wants the U.S. to support Ukraine more. Netanyahu wants the U.S. to support Israel more. So there is like a power grab here where they both want the same resources. Okay, so here it is. This is the big news from 9 hours ago. President Trump to Fox News, he said, "We're going to beat the effing S word out of Iran." And that comes in response to Iran's surprise attacks on U.S. military installations in Jordan yesterday. No, Mike, that's definitely not it. Uh, you're adding an extra L in there. That's crazy, bro. Or I mean, an extra A. Okay, 4 hours ago, guys, Ansarallah have denied the routers report. The group told Arabi Al Jadid that they had no intention of imposing transit fees on ships passing through the Strait of Bab al Mandeb. So, guys, if that's the case, they don't even want to impose fees. They just don't want to let Saudi Arabian oil ships through, possibly other commercial vessels. If that happens, guys, these are the two biggest passages in the whole world for oil and for commercial vessels through to Europe. Hey, Melly, thank you for the heart. I really appreciate you. Always here giving me hearts. Thank you. So Scouting Bob says, yes, absolutely. The eastern Iraqi area has always had Iranian support and militias. Yeah, Zero F's Given says, but on the other hand, Iran needed dealt with for 47 years. Damned if we do, damned if we don't. Very good point. Nihao Ma says Trump ain't pro-lives. He is pro-war and pro-body bags. Interesting. Okay, so here we go. Reading the rest of the news. Here we have video from maritime security firm Ambry. They've confirmed that an unidentified drone struck a U.S.-owned floating regasification unit, RSRU, and a storage vessel docked at Egypt's Damietta port. Now, Egypt's Ministry of Petroleum initially downplayed the incident, stating that only a fire had broken out at the port. However, it marks the first time Egypt has been attacked in the wider regional war. So here, guys, we have another country that may be pulled into this whole conflict. And I just want to share with you guys on a map because how this works, because something here is extremely fishy, guys. Something here is definitely wrong and something is not being told to us. And I don't want to say that we're being directly lied to, but something here definitely doesn't make sense because when you look at a map, Iran is multiple countries away from Egypt, okay? And when we think about it, when it comes to what the possibilities of Iran's strike zone, okay, we have this huge circle that we can put around Iran and say, okay, well, from the tip of their country, they could potentially launch a drone and it could get so far. Like here from Iran to Ukraine, it would have to go over Azerbaijan, Armenia, Georgia, and then over the Black Sea, or in just a close way, Turkey, and then straight over the Black Sea, and then it could hit a Ukrainian port, okay? And that is a real possibility. But here, when we look from Iran to Egypt, it has to go over Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Jordan, Syria possibly, and Israel. So guys, if a drone were to fly over there, it would definitely be caught by radar systems, right? It would definitely be caught by either U.S. radar systems, Israeli radar systems, Saudi Arabian radar systems, Jordan radar systems, or even Egypt's, right? Or someone from the Mediterranean Ocean, because there's plenty of countries' navies just circulating there, right? So something doesn't make sense here unless drones are able to not be detected like that for the whole time. It still had to fly such a far distance. Personally, my own speculation, it seems like something happened because there's no way that it could go all that way and hit this giant tanker and cause this much damage. Here, the video shows giant hoses like hosing the tanker down. because there was a fire on board and damage to the port right next to it. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see what's happening there. But guys, something big definitely has happened, because that is a major escalation. Now, let's assume that Iran actually did do it, and somehow got the drone all the way across. Are they trying to pull Egypt into the war by attacking their port? Or are they just trying to get a US tanker all the way out there? It doesn't seem logistically to make sense. Louis says, NWE, can we use each other for more death and destruction? So yeah, all right, Fatty Lord, I will do that. I'll talk to you about the war. Dale, thank you for the follow. Jeff, thank you for the follow. California, thank you for the follow. Mr. Fool, what's up, man? Long time no see. All right, so yeah, if you guys have questions, ask them. We're going to continue with the news. Jared on an Island on YouTube is where I'm showing the footage of the tankers on fire, the radar. We're going to take a look at that at a second. Maps, stuff like that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so 4 hours ago, this is from Trump, okay? He says, we are going to hit Iran very hard because it's our turn now to hit them. They know it's coming and they're asking us not to attack. Last night, they tried shooting us in Jordan with 5 missiles. We intercepted them all. And that's from President Trump on Iran's surprise attack on Jordan's air base last night. And then this has one note: one Iranian ballistic missile impacted, despite Trump's claim that all of them were intercepted. Now, guys, this is an interesting thing that's being said here. He says, we're going to be hitting Iran very hard, okay? We knew that. But then he says, because it's our turn to now hit them. And that just proves everything we've been saying. That this whole thing is like what people are saying, tit for tat, or just like one after the other. They're just attacking each other, slowly escalating what's happening. And honestly, right now, the Iran surprise attack from yesterday was an ultimate power move against the US. It basically said, like, we don't care that this continues to go on. We're still going to provoke the United States now because the United States attacked us first. They're saying, we are now going to make sure that you stay in this conflict. And it honestly is an escalation of what's happening. Trump now has to say, oh, we're just doing, we're just playing games here. We're just gonna do it because it's our turn now to hit them. What does our turn mean? Who's doing the allowing of your turn here? This just shows like we're having a hard time figuring out what to do from here. That's my personal speculation. Fatty Lord says Trump will go to war so he can have the oil. Interesting. Dale says they ask for a peace deal, then they go back on it. They are scumbags, 47 years overdue. Well, the thing is, that would be considering the fact that they're being honest about them asking for a peace deal. We don't know if Iran is really asking for a peace deal or not. We're being told that, but from the Iranian side of things, from their news media, from some of the lower spokesmen, they say we're not asking to negotiate. We never wanted to negotiate. From the moment the ceasefire was created, they don't want to negotiate. From their sources, they're saying that. Now, supposedly, the U.S. is talking to people that no one else hears from and is extremely behind the scenes. So that's what makes me think, okay, is it a lie or what? Louis says it comes down to what type, okay, of individual you tolerate. Do you tolerate the religious kind who hides behind the religious text, or the elite type Epstein class? Did you apparently we can't get rid of both of them. Both sides are discussing Israel and Iran. Yeah, so that is an interesting thing to bring up because it's like, which side do you think is like morally better? That's a pretty good question. I mean, a lot of people, I don't know. I don't know what type of answer would be good to that here, but it is interesting to think about, Louis. Okay. So guys, I am on YouTube, Jared on an Island. Go make sure to sub there. That's where I'm showing the maps, the sources, and stuff like that. So this was 2 hours ago. Clashes have erupted between pro-Al-Houthi tribe forces and pro-Presidential Leadership Council tribes in one of the areas of northern Yemen. And we have a map here of what's going on. Now, I'm going to show video here in a second of what these battles in Yemen look like. And it's very surprising. As you know, Saudi Arabia and Yemen are like extreme desert regions. And when we think of control, areas of control, it's really just like gray regions where they can potentially see and like have a view over what they have. It's not actually based off of like soldiers being there. And there's so much desert that it's very hard to see who has what. Same thing in Ukraine, where it's like when they're taking over a town, they could be stopped down right in the center of town, half and half, Russia, Ukraine. And then they say, oh, well, we own the town. Both sides are going to say that. And how do people know? We know based off how much the soldiers have gone in and how much they are not willing to go through. Okay. So 2 hours ago, loud explosions were heard in the middle of Saudi Arabia in Riyadh. Okay. So what happened after that was multiple flights were forced into a holding pattern that were heading to King Khalid International Airport in that area. So basically, the planes couldn't land. They were unsure if they could land. And that airport suspended operations for the next few hours. That was 2 hours ago. So we'll have to see if they're back up and running. But it's pretty big news because the international flights have not really been affected yet. And this proves that there may be something going on. Another escalation, Riyadh. Okay, cool. Thank you. That I actually appreciate that. Thank you very much. Iran doesn't want to negotiate, but they signed a MOU. TDS is wild. Yeah, I mean, they did sign the MOU, but what was the goal of that, right? Because they knew, or at least maybe they knew that that the U.S./Israel was going to strike again anyways. I don't have TDS. I actually am neutral on him. So. Yes, Meaning Maker, what's up, man? Yeah, we're just talking about that. Egypt was attacked with a U.S. vessel on their port. So yeah, Michael says Trump is playing the stock market. I think I agree with that. Definitely, I don't know if playing is the right word, but he's trying to manipulate it to keep it as good as possible. So maybe you can't blame him. That is like his job as the American president, right? But at the same time, you could say it is manipulating the general public because we don't know, like most of us aren't informed enough to know that he's like not being real about it, I guess. Okay, so 2 hours ago, following yesterday's U.S.-Saudi airstrikes on Iraq, Iraq's Popular Mobilization Front forces announced 20 deaths. Iran's IRGC said 5 of its soldiers were killed, and Ansarullah claimed a single member of the group has died. So, guys, there were a ton of death tolls from yesterday. This is a large number considering the strikes that happened. I guess we'll have to see what that means for the future, but it seems like there were a lot of soldiers that were hit yesterday. Okay. 2 hours ago, there were explosions heard in northwest Iran, and air defenses were activated in the western parts of northwest Iran. Okay. 1 hour ago, massive pro-presidential leadership council tribal force movements were sent to the front line with Ansarullah. Okay, so that basically just means that one, there may be active U.S. airstrikes happening right now. This may be the big one that we're waiting for, with Trump saying that we're going to strike them back. And then we also have more movement in Yemen with Saudi Arabian movement, Saudi Arabian-backed tribes fighting Ansarullah who are in Yemen, right? Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here. And guys, I can't show this on TikTok because it's technically war, and also it's not my footage. So I can't show you exactly what this is, but I am showing it on YouTube. And the name is right here, Jared on an Island, no spaces. Go sub there. I'd really appreciate it. And this is going to be kind of a longer video. They're like 2 minutes each, but it shows exactly what's happening in northern Yemen. And this is what I mean by what this war looks like. And I'll describe it for the TikTok viewers. It's tons of soldiers with AKs on the back of trucks. And there's about 30, 40, 50 trucks, probably more because you can't see all the way down in the video, but they're all just driving in the desert. And guys, this desert is all just like rocks and sand, and they're all zooming through with guys on the back of the trucks. They're all holding weapons, water tank, like, the same water tanks that you have at a football game, like the Gatorade cans or whatever, the giant ones. They're all zooming through. All this dust is flying. You can see all of the truck's headlights. People with guns in the back of the truck holding them, and they're all zooming through. So this is what this war movement looks like in Yemen. They all are rushing through until they meet the enemy, and then they get into a conflict where they're shooting here in the desert. Here's another video. It seems like the trucks are stopped now. Everyone may be like waiting for orders or something. I'm just speculating here. Hey, thank you for coming. Hot mess. Thank you. Anderson, what's up, man? What's up? Yeah, I'm showing this on YouTube, guys, in case you're wondering. This is in Yemen. So these are the tribal fighting groups in Yemen. They are on the ground because they're in trucks and stuff like that. Now, unless you're asking about U.S. forces, we don't have any confirmation of U.S. forces on the ground yet, but we do know that something big is either happening now or coming soon. So, Sonny says Trump is bringing the troops in. He's taking over one cities once the troops die. It's revenge time. Interesting. Okay. Meaning Maker says, according to Axios, that the U.S. military is currently conducting airstrikes. So we'll take a look at that in a second. But we do have one of the soldiers here speaking. I won't play the audio here, but basically, like I said from the beginning, we'll take a look at this other video one more time. These are just tons of soldiers on backs of old trucks from the early 2000s and stuff like that, just zooming through the desert, rocks and sand, driving over. They're all carrying troops, either in the back of the trucks or the beds of the trucks, weapons, maybe supplies. But there's really no formation here. They're all just driving in one direction. I guess you don't really need a road or anything like that in the desert, right? Because you just tell everyone, hey, we're all gonna head south, right? Until we find the enemy, I guess. I don't know. It's very interesting how that works. But yeah, 3 minutes ago, we got confirmation. New U.S. airstrikes were carried out in Sarik, Iran, around 90 minutes ago. So basically over an hour and a half ago. So we'll take a look on a map and find Sarik, and we will go take a look there. But we'll take a look at some of the more news here. I'm going to read some of the YouTube comments now. Yeah, there's a lot more tankers today in Iran. Let's take a look there as well. Okay. Iran is deploying those anti-gravity medium UAP made in China. Interesting. Okay, I think that's a joke. There's a lot more takers today in Iran. I wonder why. It's more about ports and trade routes, less about oil. But yeah, essentially, I see a lot of tankers waiting right outside the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, and Anderson on YouTube, he's talking about right here, this area. There's all the red dots. And guys on TikTok, we're looking at this on YouTube. All these red dots and red like triangles are oil tankers. And a lot of them seem to be waiting at the port here, kind of just like sitting around waiting things for clear up. They probably don't want to take all the extra time of going around Africa, since also if you're a Saudi Arabian oil tanker specifically, this is Bab al-Mandeb. This is where Yemen is, and that's also where the Houthis in Ansarallah are attacking Saudi Arabian oil tankers. So very interesting stuff. It seems like this whole region is a hot mess. Yeah. Anderson says, I think they got excited and thought they were going through when it paused. Yeah. Traffic jam. You guys are lucky with all this technology during the Afghanistan war and Iraq war. We didn't have this, so we had to rely on our mainstream media, which, as you know, it's all garbage. Yeah, exactly. The worst part is that when stuff does happen to go down in Iran, the U.S. government or the Iranian government seems to shut down all of the internet. So then we get to learn about it after the fact. Vikra says the October 7th thing is in Israel is the actual cause and start of the war. Okay, so then would you say it's that, or would you say it's the nuclear negotiations? Which one is it more, or is it both? Gracie says, I would just take my jail time before I would go. It's bad enough if you are fighting for good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to go to war, right? Like, if anyone here want to sign up for war, I'm sure they're already all in the military, right? Thank you guys for the follows, by the way. If you guys go to YouTube, Jared on an Island, that's where I'm showing this news and footage and stuff like that. It's all, radar systems, stuff like that. So here we go. The Wall Street Journal reports that President Donald J. Trump is weighing whether to resume major combat operations against Iran following Tuesday's missile attacks on U.S. forces, with CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper presenting an option for 10 to 14 days of intensive airstrikes aimed at crippling Iran's remaining missile capabilities. According to the journal, Cooper argues a larger offensive would reduce Iran's abilities to launch future attacks and lessen the long-term damage for U.S. air defense interceptors. By contrast, Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane has warned that dwindling interceptor stockpiles increases the risk of a renewed campaign, though they would not prevent one. So it seems like both options from I can't share the here, I'll put it in the comments actually. That's how you spell my YouTube name. It's exactly like my TikTok name. It should show up if you type it in the search. Dale says that and Trump has enough with it. He said they needed to do something about this 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, even Netanyahu has claimed Iran was a threat like 30 years ago. So do you know what you mean? Hey, thank you for following the Twitter, Louis. Yeah, full screen, please. Okay, yeah, for the video, I tried to. But here we go. So I'm reading this here. And we're going to look at flight radar again, just so you guys have something important to look at. These are all the military aircraft in the region. So we do have way more refuelers up than usual if these are refuelers. Let's see. 1. Okay, that one doesn't count. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we do have 6. Now, the most we've ever seen in the air at one time was when we did heavy strikes against Iran, and there was about 8 in the region. Now, guys, the interesting thing is that all of these seem to be up in the middle of Saudi Arabia. So it could be, okay, here, I'll put it in the, there you go. That's what you should put in, and then it should let you find me that way. But yeah, so we've seen the most in what at one time in the air it was about 8, and we did like one of the heaviest nights of strikes. So if we're seeing 6 in the air right now, that could potentially mean something big is happening, right? But the thing is, okay, guys, we do have a Bombardier E-11A in the air, and that is a sign that there's probably some heavy strikes happening, guys. We only have seen this when heavy strikes did occur, and this is what it is. The E-11A is a modified Bombardier Global 6000 business jet used by the U.S. Air Force to carry the Battalion Airborne Communications Node, the BACN system, often called Wi-Fi in the sky. It acts as a high-altitude gateway that translates and relays voice and tactical data between incompatible military systems. So let's see what that means, okay? What this mean is okay, so yeah, okay, so if we see this over Iran or near Iran, it's active or imminent high-intensity U.S. military operations in the region. So major air operations are underway because the E-11A is a force multiplier that acts as a universal communications bridge. If it's airborne nearby, it means a large, complex package of diverse U.S. aircraft, such as F-A-18s, F-35 stealth bombers, and refueling tankers, are operating in the same airspace and need to seamlessly share data and voice intelligence in real time. Overcoming rugged terrain or electronic jamming. Iran's geography is heavily defined by mountainous terrain, so it could block natural line of sight military radio signals. So it ensures troops on the ground, naval ships in the Persian Gulf, and jets in the sky stay connected. So basically, it acts as like a communications aircraft. And guys, this, it seems, let's see, it says that it's 1,900 feet in the air. Now, we don't know if that's for sure the case of it, but guys, this does show that there's definitely something major going on right now. Possibly heavy strikes. It could be possibly like just communicating between all of these. Oh, and it just went off the radar. So definitely, if in my speculation, something is happening right now. Something is either about to happen, already happening, or been happening for the last couple hours. Dale, I'm using Flight Radar 24. I have the premium for it, so I can filter out all the aircraft. I'm showing it on YouTube though. Jared on an Island on YouTube. That's where I'm showing it. I'll show you guys what it looks like without all of the filters. These are all of the flights happening in the Middle East right now. And guys, there's tons of flights that head into the United Arab Emirates. They have one of like the Dubai International Airport is huge, right? So there's a lot of commercial flights still flying in the region. We did have earlier today an interruption in the the middle of Saudi Arabia that was Riyadh, okay, in the middle there, or Riyadh, sorry, Riyadh. So emergency alert. Israel has been placed on high alert in anticipation of what may happen tonight. So yeah, guys, seems like something big is going to happen tonight. If I filter only military aircraft here and I turn everything off, let's see if we can find that E-11 again, because that is an important aircraft to keep an eye on. We still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 refueler aircraft in the air. We have this other aircraft that seems to be not listed. It's probably a Saudi Arabian aircraft of some sort, just because that's generally what they are, but it could be a US one. We don't know for sure, as well as these two smaller ones. This one is a Saudi Arabian Royal Air Force aircraft. Not too sure what it's doing exactly, but we do know this, guys. Every time we see a refueler aircraft, there's 4 to 6 multi-purpose aircraft with it that can refuel from it. So that's how we know what airstrikes are coming up and around. So guys, another refueler jet has now reappeared in southern Iraq after coming on and off the radar. It seems like its signal is jammed or something like that. Maybe it's turning off and on its transponder, but it seems like it was one of the ones participating in the strikes that was happening about 90 minutes ago. Reading y'all's YouTube comments now. Sounds familiar, almost like playing Weekends at Bernie's with a dead senator to avoid a special election. Those fishing boats from Yemen look like pirates. Like the live, boys. Yeah, thank you guys. Like the live. There are going to be some insane footage coming out of Yemen. They're crazy owl warriors. Yeah. Reminds me of old school desert combat FPS. It reminds me of Arma 2, Operation Arrowhead. If anyone played that game, let's hop on. Let's play that. They're taking away a service member's personal phone. They're taking away U.S. service members' personal phones. Yeah, they need to, because anytime that service members leak anything, which they always do to family members or whoever else, it gets them in a lot of trouble with Iran, because Iran tracks the internet. They're probably looking at this right now as well. And it's harmful to, U.S. bases and stuff like that if information is given away. Okay. No V for me says nothing big is going to happen tonight. Why do you say that? It seems like something is going to happen. Even Trump said that we're going to strike back, man. Out of control. Thank you for the follow. Jay says big push still a few weeks away. Interesting. Why do you think it's a few weeks away and not right now? Yes, just Jill Guy. Yeah, a port was hit in Egypt. A U.S. tanker was there, so a drone supposedly hit that tanker. But the thing is, how did an Iranian drone get all the way across Iraq, Jordan, Israel, and into one of these ports of Egypt or over Saudi Arabia? It just doesn't seem likely, but the government is saying that's what happened. They'd also have to go over Kuwait, possibly, and it's a drone. It doesn't go that fast. So, not too really too sure what's happening there, but apparently so, guys. Yo, thank you guys for the follows. Fraptastic, thank you for the follow. S Jask, thank you for the follow. Andrews, thank you for the follow. Blue, thank you for sharing the live. Just a chill guy. It was more likely was launched locally by Iranian forces in Egypt. Okay, 1 minute ago, guys, from U.S. CENTCOM, U.S. forces began launching strikes against Iran at 8 p.m. Eastern Time today. The strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempted Iranian attack on U.S. forces based in the Middle East. Guys, 8 p.m. Eastern Time was literally 30 minutes ago. So either the strikes that we're doing now are very short, or they're still happening right now. What do you guys think is happening? That's from U.S. CENTCOM. So some stuff is happening right now as we speak. And back to what we were talking. Hey, Alvaro, what's up, man? Hey, thank you for joining on YouTube. Guys, on TikTok, I'm showing the footage, I'm showing the news, I'm showing the radars, I'm showing everything on YouTube, Jared on an Island. And guys, I have one more favor. If any of you guys have an Android phone, I need a couple testers for an app I've been making, Seed Oil Tracker. You can get it on the iOS App Store already. But if you have an Android, message me. I need some testers. I'll give you a year free of the premium stuff. But just send me a message and I'll send you the testing link later after the live. But guys, yeah, come over to YouTube. I'd really appreciate it. I'd really appreciate a sub on YouTube. Hey, Rob, thank you, man. I'll message you after this. Just message me on TikTok or wherever. Since you're on TikTok, yeah, message me there. And I'll send you the link for it. But yeah, thank you very much. I'm trying to get it on the Google Play Store as well. Okay, anyways, back to the news. This thing that I read from the Wall Street Journal about Commander Admirals Brad Cooper presenting an option for 10 to 14 days of intensive airstrikes, or Joint Chief Chairman General Dan Kane warning that dwindling interceptor stockpiles increase the risk of a renewed campaign, though they would not prevent one. Both of these show something important here. What it shows, guys, is that either way, the U.S. government feels like this is not ending anytime soon. The YouTube link, let me send that in the TikTok chat real quick. That should work right there. If it's sent, yeah, cool. That should work, but anyways, this basically says that this thing is not ending anytime soon. And the thing is about this, either option is escalation. The first one being 10 to 14 days of intensive airstrikes aimed at crippling Iran's remaining missile capabilities. Even if we cripple them, what are they going to do as soon as it stops? They're going to just rebuild. And guys, these missiles for Iran, the drones, are cheaper to make than ever before. Now, can they continue to do this? We don't know, but it seems like Iran is dead set on not caring about the money and trying to, protect themselves in any way possible from Iran or Israel. And for the other option, they're basically saying we need to give up in some capacity because our interceptor stockpiles are basically going low, right? And we need to give up and restock our interceptors so that we can at least defend ourselves. So guys, either way, it seems bad for us. Okay, let's keep going with the news here. Okay, so this is from new Center for Strategic and International Studies analysis. The U.S. now has roughly 827 Patriot and 278 terminal high altitude air defense, which is THAAD, THAAD interceptors remaining, down from an estimated 2,330 and 452. So basically, we are less than half of the supply of the Patriot missiles and practically half of the terminal high altitude air defenses. So it's been a couple months and we're basically half of our supply, if not less than half. Guys, analysis warn replenishing these high-end missiles inventories could take years despite expanded production efforts, leaving limited capacity for other major contingencies if demand is high. So guys, this is a big problem for the US government because if our supply is low, other people who, may want to do things to us, like China or Russia, may see this as the best time to do it because of our low supplies. Will we be able to defend ourselves if all of our Patriot and THAAD missiles are used up or proactively being used in the Middle East? Something else could happen somewhere else. Could China take over Taiwan? Are we ready for that? Could Russia go even further into Ukraine? That's what they're worried about. Now, is that a real worry? I don't know. But that is practically why they're doing these types of reports, to check. YouTube comments, I'm reading y'all first. Serbian dude, hey, what's up, man? Iran might strike Ukraine. Yeah, they were considering that, and they said that diplomacy was the only thing that stopped them from doing it today. He says, Serbian dude says, if that happens, World War III is unwrapping slowly. Yeah, I think I agree with that. I mean, listen, everyone seems to be getting involved in every conflict nowadays. So, Louis says, that is a very interesting point. I would not venture. Here, I'm going to put on the radar so we can keep track of the airplanes while I read these. An interesting point. I would not venture a guess, but I would imagine tit for tat would require a response, which would make this extremely complicated. Iran warned Israel, and as we know, the Iranian threats are not empty. Yeah. So yeah, guys, if you're on TikTok, come over to YouTube, Jared on an Island, no spaces, and we're looking at the radar right here. It seems like the refueler jets are starting to spread out a lot more. It seems like another one has come back from the Strait of Hormuz. We got a couple more just flying out, just around in the central Saudi Arabia. We have one more that came back from the Strait of Hormuz, and it seems like one more that it seems like they may have just taken off here. So it seems like they're circling out what's been in the air. And let's take a look over Europe real quick, see if any more supplies are coming in. It's very quiet right now, but we do have one C-17A Globemaster III heading from the US all the way to the Middle East here. And we have one heading out of Germany. Besides that, it seems like the air is empty. Now over the Atlantic Ocean, let's see, we got one refueler starting to make its way towards potentially England or Germany, and then it will probably finish its stop in the Middle East. Over the US itself, let's take a look at what aircraft are flying around. We got some C-5Ms, we got some P-8s doing their laps. We got the Doomsday plane flying up in the air right now. Now there's always one of them flying in the air, probably just doing its practice runs or just staying up in terms of there's always got to be one up in the air. But looking around, it seems like there's not much too crazy happening. Nothing you should get kind of scared if you see everything starting to fly to the Middle East. Now we have seen tons of stuff head over to the Middle East the last couple weeks, but it doesn't seem like as much as going over right now. It could be because everything they need is already there. We know that there's over 100 refueler aircraft in Israel right now. And like I said, with every refueler aircraft, there's about 4 to 6 fighter jets or other types of jets with it. So if there's 100 refuelers, that makes a crazy amount of numbers of what's in the Middle East right now. I know CENTCOM said at one point we have 50,000 active military people there. Louis says it was 33 years between the original fatwa issued on Salman Rushdie and the attack which took his eye. Serbian dude says Ukraine has capacity to strike boats in Caspian. It can go a bit further, 100%, but doubt it would be much, but I don't know. Squad Boss says he's here. What's up, man? Gene says, do you really think that the military is going to tell you what they have? No. And that's why we know that if we see nothing on the radar, we know all of their transponders are off, because they're definitely wanting to keep stuff secret. And so far today, it seems like anything that gets close to Iran, they've been turning off their transponders exactly for that reason. Georgie says, "Does anyone here like tacos?" Yeah, we all love tacos. Our text says that's exactly what the U.S. wants to do. Wants everyone to do. Think, great job, Trump. Okay. Yo, thank you guys for the follows. YouTube, Jared on an Island. I'd appreciate a sub there. I'd really appreciate it. Jay says they're still in shaping operations. Carg Island hit mid-August. Need victory, big victory for midterms. But wouldn't Trump want to end this and like get the victory now? And then because of that, he wouldn't have to worry about the future of, the midterms, because everyone would forget this by then if he was able to finish it now. That's why I kind of think he wants to, end all of what's happening. Okay, so this was 2 hours ago when an explosion was heard in Riyadh, okay? Or sorry, is it Riyadh or Riyadh, or I always forget. Anyways, I'll say Riyadh, okay? Air traffic was shortly suspended. The threat seems to be over, in airspace over Daman in the Persian Gulf was close to civilian aviation. So there was a pretty big gap of planes for a brief moment there in Saudi Arabia today. And like we saw a couple hours ago, there's been a ton of U.S. refueler jets in the air, actively doing their strike back against Iran. So guys, the thing is that I'm thinking now is, the strikes had to be bigger than just a 30-minute strike. So I don't think they're done yet. I think more is definitely going to happen or is happening right now. Let's see. It does seem to be almost morning there. The sunlight is almost coming into Iran. But a lot of these refueler aircraft have been up all night, like flying in the air. This one took off at 3:19 a.m. So it barely just took off. And now it seems it's probably going to stay in the area or head over to Iran. We'll have to see. Okay. One thing is for sure, nothing will change at the very least until November. That's what Louis says. He says, as soon as the weather cools down, they're going boots on the ground. Maybe. Let's see. All right, guys. So let's keep reading the news here. So this was from 2 hours ago. This is what I mean. Like, Trump said the U.S. is going to carry out a very hard round of fresh strikes against Iran to beat the effing S word out of them, stronger than before, because now it's our turn and they know it's coming. This comes directly after Israeli PM Netanyahu met with U.S. Defense Secretary Hegseth in Washington today. 3 hours ago, Israel says the U.S. is preparing for something bigger than we've ever seen before in the war with Iran. That's from a senior Israeli security official telling Channel 15. The official adds the U.S. is preparing for a large-scale, unprecedented operation against Iran, not just a single isolated response, with Israeli defenses circles saying the U.S. is approaching a major counter-response. So, okay. So basically, there's something big is definitely coming, guys, and now we're just waiting for what that is. And these strikes that we just saw right now were definitely not it. Like, they were not the response that we're waiting for, but they were a response, right? So the question is, when will this happen? Is it going to happen today, or is it going to happen a week from now, or is it going to happen? Honestly, I can kind of believe it may happen on this weekend, but honestly, I think it'll happen before that. Things need to happen, just so that, things progress, right? Right now, it looks really bad for Trump. Bald Sinbad says this is only dry run, people. Oh, TikTok went. Okay. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me on YouTube. I appreciate all you guys being here. We're going to take a look at the map of Iran right now and all of the strikes that have happened. Let's see if I can get this bigger. Okay, so U.S. Army ballistic missile strike on Kish Island 2 minutes ago, apparently. Let's take a look at how to use this. This is the Iran war map. Come join us on YouTube if you want to see this map, guys. Barnacles, what, bro? Anyways, so yeah, come join us on YouTube, Jared on an Island, no spaces. And we're taking a look at a map of all of the stuff that is happening. Now, there's 2 minutes ago, reports indicated deployment of HIMARS systems aimed toward Iran. So we'll take a look at what exactly is happening here. Let's see. So as you can tell here, most of the strikes have been on the southern border of Iran, okay? But also the missiles that were launched yesterday and the surprise attack hit Jordan. And the country of Jordan is right next to Israel, guys, like literally right next to it. So we'll have to see where this stuff happened. So yeah, here we go. This is from 7:39, so a couple minutes ago. Let's see. Oh yeah, missile launches HIMARS towards Iran, and I'll make this full screen here. Now I don't know I can't verify this video is actually right now, but this may be it. Okay, I don't think I've seen this video before off of the top of my head, so we'll just assume this is true. Okay, or at least I will. These HIMARS missiles are U.S. missiles that are launched from the back of U.S. military trucks and launched over to Iran or possibly East Iraq, where the tribes that we're currently fighting are. This will show that maybe the big strike is happening now, if this is in hand or like coinciding or whatever the word is with you know, the refueler airstrikes. Wow, this video is not over. That's how many missiles are being launched right now. We can see them as these bright dots that are flying upward into the sky here. It's not really that good of footage, but we'll keep going here. Let's see. This is from open source intel 2 minutes ago. Oh wow, look at these explosions, guys. Huge explosions in the distance. It seems maybe like when we see something that looks like fireworks are exploding in one place, what that usually is an ammo depot. Over on TikTok, they are pronounced HIMARS. Interesting. Yeah, Randy, at least I try to be honest here with my reporting. I can't verify a lot of these sources. The only one I can verify is Rerum Navarum, okay? And they're the only ones I trust with actual, like, factual footage. They verify their stuff very well. Now, this open source intel may not be honest, but it seems like they're trying to get as much footage that's, like, instant, right? And even they have their own opinions that they tweet too. Like here, they're kind of making fun of U.S. Central Command, saying that the strikes are a powerful response to yesterday's attempt. They put powerful response in quotations, showing that they don't really think it was that strong. So this are all the areas hit by the strikes tonight. And guys, I'm showing this stuff on YouTube. I can't show the maps and stuff on TikTok. It's against TOS. So come over and join me. Jared on an Island, no spaces. But thank you guys for the follows. TT, thank you for the follow. George, thank you for the follow. A Rough Day Bark Club, thank you for the follow. Serbian dude says Jordan is just that one classmate who sits next to the problematic kid near him and is another dude, and they go throwing stuff at each other while he's just in the middle. Yeah, like what? Like, how bad is the damage in Jordan? We don't know. Or from yesterday's surprise attack, they say that there were 5 ballistic missiles launched, and Trump says that, or the U.S. government / Trump says that all of them were intercepted. But from our sources, we see that 1 was hit. Crucial, I see you in the chat, man. I see you calling. Yo, Crucial, can you hear me? I answered your call.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yes, guys, if you guys are watching, go to YouTube and sub to Crucial. That's Crucial with 4 L's. We don't know if the big one's happening yet, Crucial, but we're waiting for it. The U.S. just struck back about an hour ago. Supposedly, Iran somehow got a drone all the way to an Egyptian port and hit a U.S. tanker earlier today. And
oh, crap.
Yeah, and that doesn't even make logistical sense, but somehow that happened. And then we're watching this right now. We're waiting for escalation. Everyone's saying that it's bound to happen. Right now, I'm showing a map, though, guys, of all the places that were hit within the past basically 24 hours. So here we go. Reported U.S. strikes on Iran. This is the map right here. Full screen on YouTube. Come join us for a sec. Come sub real quick. So here it is. This is Kuwait. There's U.S. bases in Kuwait. There at least were U.S. bases in Iraq. A lot of the areas in Iraq are tribal now, and it's very hard for us to have our place there because it's so close to Iran. But these are the strikes on Iran. We've been doing this over and over. Bandar Abbas, which is this island down here, and Qasem Island, or Qasem Island, okay? Both of these are potential targets for U.S. ground troops to take over, but we have yet to do that, obviously. But we may do that. But it seems, in my own opinion, I would say that's a very bad idea for the U.S. to do, because it gives a clear area for where the for Iran to launch missiles. If they can get our Marines in one place, that's better for them. They know exactly where they're going to be if we try to take over an island. We also see that U.S. strikes on the border of Iraq and Iran, in the southern border. There's been rumors of Iran potentially planning to take over and do a ground invasion of their own in Kuwait. I think that's extremely unlikely, because the last time that happened with Saddam Hussein in Iraq, the U.S. was easily able to come in and sweep up all of the military that was there and free Kuwait from Iraq. We also have strikes in Bushehr, which is another oil place, like an oil town on the coast. Sarik, which is another one here. Nurabad, which is further inland in Iran, but still on the south side. And guys, Iran is like 90% mountain. So if we were to do a ground invasion, it would be extremely difficult. Okay, so we're going to take a look back at the news here, and we're going to keep scrolling for a second. So here's the video and a picture of the crews working out to put a fire on the U.S.-owned floating platform in Egypt following a drone attack, with initial reports saying Iran struck it. So here's a picture of it on fire, supposedly. Now, I don't know if this is an actual picture or not. Meaning Maker MX says, don't forget that Kuwait is part of Iran. Interesting. What do you mean by that? Dina, hey, how's it going? It's a rough day. Hey, appreciate you joining us. Louis says, yeah, it's ports and trade routes and less controls. Serbian tacos. I had 2 carne asadas and 1 chicken taco for lunch at my favorite place. Okay. Hot Met says, I'm too leery of that devil lettuce. Can't have Mexican food. Yeah, literally that parasite going around. Or the bacteria or whatever it is. Austin says it is about nukes. Iran was in the process of building up an arsenal that would make them untouchable. Then they would race to finish the bomb while we couldn't touch them. Pickaxe Mountain is likely immune to bunker busters. Yeah, that's what people have been saying, right? Kuwait was once Iraqi. Okay, that's what Sean says on TikTok. Eggsy also says, we mopped Iraq and Afghanistan in like less than a month. We'd mop Iran in about the same time. Eggsy, I'm going to push back a little bit on that comment. Like, think about how much we had people fighting the forever wars and our involvement in the Middle East. It wasn't necessarily about the majority control, but the fact that terrorist groups were now hiding in those countries and staying there for so long that we had to have permanent bases there. And I think that's what people are afraid of when it comes to Iran, because there are 150,000 members of the IRGC who are hardline set, like they will die for the cause. So it is I do see both sides here of what's happening. So 8 hours ago, this is the big news that I was talking about. At least one drone has attacked a U.S. natural gas storage facility offshore of Damietta, Egypt, with multiple vessels evacuated per routers. So I think this is the video of the ship right here. And like I was talking about earlier, going back to the map on flight radar, the distance between Iran and Egypt is essentially too far for a drone to get there. It would either have to go through Iraq, Jordan, Israel without being detected by radar, or through Saudi Arabia, or potentially Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, one of these countries, unless it somehow went all the way down through Yemen and then all the way around. But that's too long of a distance, right? I'm 99% sure that's like not possible. So how did it get there? Someone mentioned, oh, they launched the drone from Egypt. If that's true, I kind of understand that they wouldn't tell the general public about that, because guess what? If they could launch a drone from a different country, that means they could launch one close to the US, from Mexico, Cuba. Like, if you can just launch a drone and damage a huge oil tanker like that, we're all in a target region then, aren't we? Because that means they got the drone all the way over there. Now, we don't know for sure if that's true or not, but we're just speculating here. Crucial, do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh no, I guess, if how would it have enough fuel, or do these drones, are they electric? Like you said, how would it get that far? I don't know. That makes sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even, I'm pretty sure they're like battery powered, but I don't know.
Wouldn't it be, would it, if it went that far, wouldn't it have been shot down? Like at that point, you'd think.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it definitely would have been picked up by radar. So, okay. So this is from last week. Senator Marco Rubio, or I mean, Secretary Marco Rubio on Iran. He said our policy is a head for an eye. So we'd expect extreme pushback tonight because of the surprise attack from Iran yesterday. And in case you guys are just joining us, Iran did a surprise attack on a U.S. base in Jordan by launching 5 ballistic missiles. Our government claims all 5 were intercepted, but we did see some potential footage of one hitting the base. So Sash says Mossad did it. Maybe. Rob says launch from a small boat. That's potentially true. I Love Nature says they're attacking Europe with fires everywhere, maybe with drones. I don't know if the fires are caused by anything like that. I mean, I kind of believe that negligence could have caused the fires as well. So I don't know, but you never know in this world, honestly. Meaning Maker MX says, and 60% of the population are Shiites, which means they support Iran. Good point. Yo, thank you guys for sharing the lives. I don't know where you guys are sharing it to, but thank you guys for sharing it. Louis says drone warfare changes game. Oh, so true. So true. Okay, let's see. We're going to keep these guys open. 3 hours ago. Now, guys, this guy is not a confirmed source, open source intel. I don't know for sure how much I'm trusting his sources, but he seems to have a lot of information here. Supposedly, B-1B Lancers were departed 3 hours ago from RAF Fairford. I haven't seen that anywhere else, so I don't know how true it is. But if it is true, that is a pretty big escalation as well. Lockheed Martin also secured the largest PAC-3 Patriot missile contract ever, valued at $58.6 billion, guys. Billion with a B. Okay, according to Wall Street Journal, Admiral Brad Cooper, who we talked about earlier, told officials on March 31st that the campaign would require roughly another 20 days. And it's definitely been over 20 days since March, April, May, June, July. Okay, so yeah. I literally for a second thought March was like last month, but no. And this comes after, or like before, the Wall Street Journal reported that the same guy, Brad Cooper, presented Trump with a plan for a 10 to 14 day air campaign that targets Iran's missile arsenal. And Trump has yet to decide whether to authorize the full operation or opt for a narrower strike. So, guys, it seems like the same people that were telling us this was going to end really fast, are saying it again. Okay, so 2 hours ago, we saw E-11 U.S. Air Force high-altitude airborne communication relay platforms active over Saudi Arabia. When an E-11 is orbiting over Saudi Arabia, it generally indicates the U.S. is preparing for or supporting an operation. So that kind of proves that those strikes that we saw happened. But the thing is that those strikes were nowhere near as big enough for that E-11 to be up in the air, honestly. So something else is definitely happening. Taking a look at flight radar, let's see. We're going to take a look at the times that these refuelers took off. So we have one that's still in the air from literally like 10 hours ago. Another one from like 7 hours ago. This one just took off 3:19 a.m. in their time. And as we can tell from the map here, and guys, I'm on YouTube showing this. Yo, Jason, thank you for the rose, man. I appreciate that. But on YouTube, I'm showing flight radar. I have the premium, so we have it filtered. Come join Jared on an Island, no spaces, or go over to Crucial's channel, Crucial with 4L. Can sub to him too. 4Ls, yeah. Anyways, so this one just took off. We can see that it's barely about to turn morning here in Iran. All the rest of the tankers seem to have been up for the whole night, guys. And all of their radar seems to be all over the place. This is the E11 that we were just talking about. And let's see, let's zoom in on where it is. Let's see if there's any movement whatsoever. Yeah, its movement seems like its GPS radar seems to be like, interfered with. It's just kind of staying in one place. It says it's 2,000 feet in the air with no speed. So, or 30 kilometers per second. Or sorry, 30 knots. Sorry, I'm reading that wrong. But we'll have to see what that means or what it is doing, but it is in the air.
What's going on, Louis? What's going on, Anderson? No, I'm just catching up. I haven't been checking out the news today, so I'm kind of in the dark.
So what give your opinion on everything for a second while I do something else.
I just tuned in. Don't even like, did Egypt get hit by an American drone? Is that what you were saying earlier? Like, I don't know.
An American tanker got hit by an Iranian drone in Egypt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Is Israel against Egypt?
Israel isn't against Egypt. Egypt is like an ally of the U.S. now in a lot of ways.
Okay.
So I don't think their intention was to hit, Egypt in any way, but it was to hit a U.S. tanker. But I guess they could have accidentally caused Egypt to like have a say in this.
Mm.
I mean, Egypt does have a lot of people. Yo, Crucial, are you live right now?
No,
Okay, yeah. Louis, he's not live right now. If you go live, you should go live if you want.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys for the follows, by the way. Sean says America bought Egypt alliance in the 70s. Riza says, bravo, Iran. Okay. Meaning Maker MX says President Trump met with Saudi Defense Minister Prince Khalid bin Salman today, from a U.S. source. Okay. Possibly. I mean, think about it. Like, the Saudi and the U.S. connection has already been strong. So I don't know why they'd need to meet, but Riza says, bravo, Iran from Southeast Asia. Okay. Exactly the place I'd expect that from, honestly. Yeah, so I don't know, guys. Let's check for more breaking news here. Yeah, so let's see. So this was from 6 hours ago. This is from U.S. Central Command as well. They announced that as of today, CENTCOM has redirected 20 commercial vessels while disabling 2 and boarding 2 more to ensure compliance with the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports. And they say no ships allowed in or out of Iranian ports. Blockade is being enforced impartially against vessels of all nations. Freedom of navigation remains for vessels transiting the Strait of Hormuz, except for ships entering or exiting Iranian ports. Now, guys, this is like one of those things where you have to think about it like in the bigger picture. We are blocking anything for Iranian ports. Iran is blocking everything that doesn't pay their toll. Sometimes, otherwise, they're just saying no to everything. So this is something interesting here, and why we are not seeing, more footage of the attacks. Louis says he's 8 minutes behind on the live. Interesting. The live is just that behind from TikTok. Okay, so this is from 13 hours ago. This is from U.S. Central Command Commander Admiral Brad Cooper, who we've been hearing a lot today. Like, we've been hearing a lot from him today, okay? And he warned U.S. troops that cell phone videos and social media posts are giving Iran real-time battle damage assessments, potentially helping it plan follow-on strikes against American forces. According to Reuters, some troops in Jordan have been told their phones could soon be confiscated as the military considers tighter operational security measures following recent attacks. Cooper wrote that footage posted by service members can reveal whether Iranian missiles hit their targets, warning the public shared images and reporting can provide Tehran with intelligence free of charge. Guys, is this not what we said like 2-3 weeks ago? Iran has shown exquisite restraint. This is why I bring up Salman Rushdie thing. They waited 33 years to get him. Iran is in no rush. This is why the Trump family should be very afraid. That's from Louis, guys. Interesting.
Man, it's getting serious if they're saying, "Hey, give us your cell phones because we're about to take some heat."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the crazy thing is that I was looking up today on Claude, like how to predict if there was going to be a ground invasion and stuff. And even Claude says, yeah, you'll know when it immediately happens because soldiers will start telling their families on Facebook, and then their families will stupidly post about it on Facebook. So yeah, honestly, if I was in charge of the military, I would do the same thing. I'd say, yeah, you're not allowed to use your phone a week before the attacks, just to prepare everyone for no one to reveal it, right? So
yeah, I wonder if we're going to Karg Island, or what's going to happen, or they just don't want people to know the extent of the damage that they're doing to our bases.
Yeah. I think they're gonna say no matter what, it's the damage thing. But then the next level of that is definitely the attacks. I feel like it's both, honestly.
Yeah.
This is kind of not that important news, but I guess it does show something here that on X, X suspended the account of the Iranian state media agency Tasnim News, and that's where we got a lot of reporting from for the Iranian side of things. So interesting that they suspend that. I mean, I don't understand. If X is a free speech platform, why would they shut that down, even if it's some propaganda from another country? I don't know.
All the replies, shut it down.
I had to scroll out of that real fast. Okay, let's see. Here we have a Jordanian civilian playing with the remains of a Shahid kamikaze drone, and it explodes because he's playing with it. Can I show this, or? Uh-oh. I don't want to show the full footage. Okay, yeah. Okay, it literally explodes on him. Nice. I'm going to show it anyways. Anyways, guys, I'm showing this footage on YouTube. The guy's not hurt, so it's okay. But,
dude, that must have scared him so bad.
Yeah, he literally probably saw his life flash before his eyes.
Yeah.
Austin says, best way to know if there's going to be a ground invasion, blood bags. But who's tracking the transportation of blood bags, If we knew where that was, I would definitely check that out. Okay, a Ukrainian F-16 reportedly crashed while attempting to intercept some drones 6 hours ago. That's a very expensive loss for Ukraine, but then again, it's probably not even their drone. Saudi-backed militants in Yemen received U.S.-supplied Lucas kamikaze drones, or clones, which they renamed Iban. And here's a picture of it. So I guess this is what we were talking about earlier, Crucial. Is it battery powered or gas powered? I don't know. But these things are so small, guys, compared to an actual aircraft. And they're made out of such basic material. Like literally, it looks like a giant RC plane. So
Yeah, it looks 3D printed.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure it costs thousands of dollars still, but compared to the millions of dollars that like a interceptor missile cost, it's kind of crazy like how simple it looks.
Yeah, that's just peanuts to make.
And here's the Yemeni army, not the Houthis, have been armed with American Lucas. Okay, so yeah, here it is again. This is like official footage of it. So this is the Yemeni army checking out the drones. These look a lot different. I guess maybe it's because the cap on the tip of it covers a lot of the inside or something. Okay, well there's those. So I guess there's two types of drones here. There's a bigger one. These soldiers just don't look as cool as American soldiers. I'm sorry to say, they just don't look as tough. Like their ski mask and helmets are all on wrong. And
Yeah, they
the
need some more.
commanders just don't look tough either.
Yeah, they don't have the aura. They're missing
Like
the
this
it
guy is
factor.
fat. This soldier is super fat. That one's like their posture is bad. Their ski masks are on different. Like I don't trust these guys, honestly. This guy is pretty fat too. What the heck is going on in Yemen? These guys are we're supposed to believe these guys are fighting the Ansarullah and Houthi terrorists. Like
These are the guys shutting down the Red Sea, or is that the Houthis? That's the Houthis, right?
yeah, so that's who they're fighting. Yeah, but those are
Oh,
the
okay, okay.
official government guys that we fund and support.
Oh no.
Yeah. Beckham says, yes, compared to aircraft, Shaheed is small, but it's actually quite large, 8.5 feet across. Huh. Louis says, Israel and Egypt, they're not friends. Louis says, so it could be like a sleeper agent in Egypt who had a drone fired off its coast. Maybe. But then what's stopping them from attacking a different European country? I mean, probably because they don't want them involved too, but, they could get any U.S. vessel there, which is kind of crazy to think about. The United States funds Iraqi government because it controls Iraq's resource income and its politics. This arrangement benefits neither the Iraqi people nor the American people, but only a small number of individuals, some expansionist state. Interesting. And that this guy was replying to Joe Wilson, who's a representative, who says the U.S. funds the Iraqi government, which pays salaries of the PMF, while Iran-backed militias attack our forces, and that representative is calling for it to stop. And then this guy says that he put a post here. When the Iraqi government asked U.S. troops to leave the country in 2020, Washington reportedly threatened to cut Iraq's access to the New York Federal Reserve funds, with Baghdad ultimately backing down. Interesting. So the U.S. does seem to want involvement in Iraq more than Iraq does themselves. Let's see. I am Trelly says, whose side are you people on?
You're not allowed to criticize Drip. I mean, come on.
Okay, we're looking through the video here. I'm just trying to see if there's anything interesting to show you guys here. Come over to YouTube though, sub to Crucial, that's Crucial with 4 L's at the end, and then sub to me, that's JaredOnAnIsland with no spaces. If it doesn't show up, which apparently has been happening, look up youtube.com/@JaredOnAnIsland or @Crucial with 4 L's, and you should be able to find us that way at the bare minimum. Let's take a look at flight radar. Let's see if any new aircraft are in the air. So it seems that, let's take a look here. We still have 4 aerial refuelers in the central Saudi Arabian airspace. We have 1 over Jordan and 1 over Israel. Now, all of these have been up for quite a long time now tonight. So it could be continuous strikes. They could be defending from potential Iranian, defensive or Iranian, what is it, like another strike from Iran, so they're playing defense now. But Yeah, guys, if you're just joining us, we're waiting for a big strike any moment. Any moment really now, or it could have already been happening. I mean, it sounds like honestly that they're already done with the strike that they mentioned from 8 p.m. Eastern time, which was an hour ago and an hour and 10 minutes ago. Brian G and Big B, thank you for following. So we're waiting to see if something big is going to happen because it seems like such a small strike back compared to what Trump was saying earlier today. He said we're going to get the effing shit out of them. So we're all waiting for something bigger. User, thank you for the follow. Michelle, thank you for the follow.
Did he say that in an interview or on Truth Social?
He said that to Fox News.
Oh, no way. So yeah, that's
there's
gotta be more. There's gotta be more coming.
Yeah, exactly. Like Trump definitely knows something no one else does. And here on YouTube, guys, I'm showing what. Okay, people are wondering what are these tribes like. Hey, thank you guys for the follow, Sacred Garden Sinag. Y'all's names are so hard to say. Like, what even is this? It looks like you guys spammed on the keyboard. Bisru KJJF. Yeah, thank you guys for following. From Singapore, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for the follow, man. Welcome. Come over to YouTube, Jared on an Island, no spaces. So what I'm showing here is footage of the in Yemen, right? There's a civil war going on. I believe this is, let's see who this is actually, just so I get this right. This is from the outskirts of northern Yemen, so I'm not really too sure who this is. This could be Houthis, Ansarullah, or the Yemeni government, but it's maybe hundreds of trucks, at least 30 though in this video. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Okay, yeah, there's just too many trucks, but it's all these trucks just zooming through the desert, going through the desert with the boys with AKs in the back, with tons of guys in the back. They're all zooming through, I assume going to South Yemen to go fight. And guys, this is insane. Like, it's their civil war is escalating even more. They're all just zooming through. Like, I don't understand if they even have like a chain of command or something when it comes to this. How are they going to know which truck's the enemy and which one's not? I guess which one's just facing the wrong way. But they're all going there with their guns, and it's pretty intense. It looks intense. I'm scared Singapore will come under attack. I assume you mean can't come under attack. I think Singapore is good. Isn't Singapore like a Muslim country too? Like, I don't think that they'd care that much about Singapore. Now, Singapore, y'all's oil, I don't know how y'all do with oil, but maybe your gas prices might change. Ada says Iran is hitting the American bases. Yeah, it was earlier. Yeah, for sure.
I think Singapore is so close to Australia that it's just that would be like global. I think you're good in Singapore.
Yeah. Now, Scott, I can't show the video on TikTok because it's against TOS. Yo, Jason, thank you for the rose. Blue, thank you for the love you so much. I appreciate you very much. Now, guys, the footage is on YouTube, and I'm showing the radar too, and I'm showing the breaking news, and I'm showing pictures and the Twitter feeds and stuff like that. So come over to YouTube. Right now I'm letting the Yemen tribal groups driving with trucks and the guns that came out today show on video. So come over, take a look at that. But I can't show it on TikTok because it's against TOS. They'll immediately adult moderate me and then take me off. I've tried it before, but it doesn't work.
There's like 50 Toyotas, and there's like 4 guys in each bed of the truck.
Yeah. Okay. Where's Dad? Thank you for the follow. Scott, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. When that time Iran attacks Saudi, Singapore deploys the tanker to save the civilians. Well, that's great on Singapore, honestly. I'm glad a lot of other countries help with that. Blue, thank you for sharing the live. Takoa Bokoa World, thank you for the follow. My tube is Jared on an Island, no spaces. You can put youtube.com/ like at Jared on an Island. I sent it in the chat. You can look that up and go there. Aiden says something is happening. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. But we're waiting to see if something bigger is happening. We haven't got any bigger reports yet. I'll take a look here and refresh some of my news pages and take a look.
if any of you guys have sources on the ground, if you have a cousin over there, that's fighting, let us know. We are trying to see that footage. That would be sick.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to see everything we can here. Like, listen, we're reporting the news. We deserve the best sources, right? Um, so yeah, so it seems like these US aircraft are operating near or for Yemen, right? Like attacking Yemen, but we don't know because a couple of them were over the Strait of Hormuz. Uh, two are in Jordan. And then this is the maritime traffic. We're also showing the boats and stuff as well. Yo, Cody, thank you for the follow. Hecto, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Uh, can President Trump just end it? Says Mean Gene. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's considering it, but it's not going well for him. Let's take a look at open source. He did have some crazy stuff to show.
I feel like if he's dropping F-bombs on Fox, like something has to escalate more than what we've actually seen so far.
For sure, like, or at least it shows that he's really upset about what he's being told around, like, behind the closed doors, right? Like, if he's pissed off, it's probably because someone's telling him, sir, we can't do what you want, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, 8 minutes ago, oh, this is from Mexico. Large explosions at a firework warehouse in Mexico. Let's take a look at this. Wow, this is a big explosion. Now, this is the fireworks warehouse, though. Wow, Mexico looks so different from the videos we've been seeing from Iran. It's so much more colorful.
Dang. Yeah, it looks like the tropics.
Yeah, that's a big explosion, man.
I wonder if that was just a normal accident, or like we were saying the other day with all the airlines being grounded. It can't. Why would it all be happening now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. This video is from Mexico. It's a firework explosion showing on YouTube. Yeah, I'm showing it on YouTube. Can't really show it on TikTok. It's from Morelos, Mexico. Morelos. So yeah, pretty big explosion. That's crazy. I wonder what set it off. Maybe someone smoking or something nearby.
Whoops.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I'm reading y'all's TikTok comments. There's a lot here. Sorry. Oh, your connection sucks, Louis. Okay, my bad. Let's be honest here. Playing with an unexploded ordnance is kind of stupid. Yeah. Lindsay loved drones. Yeah, he really did. Don't solicit video from soldiers could be illegal. Yeah. Okay. Yo, thank you for the follow. Maybe the cartel. Yeah. Roy, thank you for the follow. Yeah, so here we go. We got 13 minutes ago, Secretary Hegseth, he said, earlier today, I had the pleasure to meet with Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. Members of my team, including Elbridge, Colby, and Sean Parnell, joined me to reaffirm the strengths of our defense partnership and commitment to advancing our shared security interest. So, listen, guys, some people were speculating Benjamin Netanyahu's only here for Lindsey Graham's, R.I.P. Lindsey Graham, his funeral. Because Lindsey Graham loved Israel. He said Israel should have nukes to defend itself like the U.S. did with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And here's the picture. Now, obviously, that wasn't the case if Netanyahu is here with his top guys meeting with Hegseth and our top guys.
He is so chummy.
Yeah, dude. They're I don't understand like how their PR team works. Like genuinely, I don't. It's just crazy. Okay. Call Me Bob says Bibi is actually one of the most moderate in his party. That's crazy. You know, you're right, and that's crazy. Isn't that crazy? Okay, we got more explosions from Iran. Look at these explosions, guys, in the distance. It just all of this fire. Now let's wait for it. You can see the explosions happening on this right side. Giant clouds, giant flashes of light, guys. Imagine if this was happening in your neck of the woods. Like, that would be something insane. Like, crazy. We are living through history. We are living through history, in case you don't know. Like, this is how history works. These things don't, uh, you know, they aren't like instant. It usually takes a while. This has been going on months now. I can't put it on Scouting Bob. It'll TOS me. It's against terms of service and it'll give me a strike. But I'll put my YouTube in the comments here. So if you want to see the footage, just join right here. I'll pin it for a second. STV, thank you for the follow. PH, thank you for the follow, man. So yeah, we're showing the footage of the explosions, radar, maps, stuff like that. Let's take a look. Do we have a new jet that just appeared on radar? Let's take a look. This one was off the radar. It was over Iraq, and it seems to have came back now. So there's 3 now over Jordan, and they all seem to have been in the air for a while. It's just that their transponders have been going on and off. Then we have 4 over Saudi Arabia. So like I said before, anytime you see a refueler, you can assume that there's 4 to 6 other jets with it, like military jets. So let's see, 4 times 4, that's how many there are there. 3 times 4, 12, so 16 and 12. Add that together. So there's about 30, 28 military fighter jets in the air right now. Now they're probably just doing defense, because usually we see them closer to the Strait of Hormuz or like closer to Iran, right? I mean, I guess the ones over Jordan are close enough to Iraq to be striking the tribal groups, or maybe they're attacking the Yemen, like Ansarallah and the Houthis, but we don't know. That explosion is from 10 months ago. That's what Ada says. Could be possible. So, okay, like I said, most of my news, because it's breaking news, isn't 100% verified. And from that source, yeah, it could possibly be not true. I know that this news source that I'm using is like not very accurate. I know that for a fact. So we'll keep looking at, the stuff that we trust here. It's just that things are a little slower in terms of the news coming out. So yeah, so this was from 5 hours ago. Trump said, we're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. And we were discussing that earlier. What does it mean to say it's our turn to hit them? It shows that we're doing this back and forth escalation where nobody really wants to be the one that goes all the way out. But Iran is in the position they can tease us now. They can hurt us, and we have to be like, oh, dang it, we have to do something now. Iran is in the position where they're gaining so much more. Hey, what's your name? Guido or something? Guigo? Thank you for the heart me. I appreciate that. Scouting Bob says B-1 bombers getting busy, escorted by fighters. Possibly, but we haven't seen any real proof of those B-1 bombers being there. Yo, crucial, interesting thing, or was it you that said this, or someone in the chat that was talking about the blood bags? American Red Cross declares second ever national blood supply crisis, urges immediate blood donations as summer stocks reportedly hit a 4-year low. Okay, conspiracy theory time. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat here. What if the Red Cross is saying that they need so much blood because the government's telling them, like, hey, we need the blood bags sent to the Middle East just in case, so that we can have our stockpile ready? Do you guys think that could be possible?
Yeah, definitely, most definitely.
Definitely. Okay. And then earlier today, we were discussing Iran is expected to receive their first shipment within weeks of up to 400 Chinese-made shoulder-fired air defense missile launchers. Now, I played Battlefield, okay? I use shoulder launchers all the time in that game. So, what do you think of that, Crucial?
I don't know.
Do you think our technology is so superior that shoulder launchers aren't a threat, or do you think that shoulder launchers are like a massive threat, and China giving them 400 is a big deal?
I mean, yeah, it's a big deal. You'd think China would stay out of that, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, China wants to test us as well, you know? P says, what is a shoulder launcher? So you know those rocket launchers like an RPG you put on your shoulder, except they're a lot bigger because they have they have like a mounted tracking sight, or the missile can just track based off heat signature, okay? So they put it on their shoulder and it's really big and heavy, and then they look at the aircraft, they aim a little bit before the aircraft, and then they launch the missile and it goes like it's pretty cool. It comes out and then it activates the flame, so like it has a couple seconds of just being in the air, and then it goes and it launches towards the aircraft. Clench Fist, thank you for the follow. Mick, thank you for the follow. Herb says, lol, like you all stayed out of it. So much uninformed on this live. What am I saying that's completely uninformed here? Ada says, we are out of ammunition or not? Was Trump lying? Well, we were talking about that earlier. We basically used supposedly, we used half of the stock of stuff we have. Here we have the report from the CSIS. Let's see if this is it. Yeah, so this is from renewed. I'll read it for you. Renewed Iran war would test diminished interceptor inventories. This is from July 2026 numbers. So pre-war, February 27th, we had 2,330 Patriot missiles. Okay. Today we have 759, so less than half. Okay. Now for our THAAD, which is THAAD. Okay, for our pre-war one, we had 452, and today we have 234 to 278. So even at the higher estimate, it's around half of all of our missiles have been used up at this point. So if this escalates or stays the same but continues, guys, we're going to be out of missiles at some point, right? And if Iran has enough missiles to get us to that point, because their missiles are cheaper to make than ours, then we may be in a lot of trouble. Now, the thing is that the U.S. government claims that Iran as a whole has so little money that they may run out of their missiles before, and we're destroying them at a faster rate. But like I said, theirs is cheaper. They have the drones as well. So will our Patriot and THAAD interceptors be enough? Because we're getting low. We are low. And the other concern is, if we get super low, will China or Russia take that as an opportunity to invade Taiwan or to attack Ukraine even more? Those are possibilities. Scott says Trump's going to take out Houthi leaders on YouTube. Louis says, I don't know anything about Yemen or the Houthi people. They've been trying to handle Yemen for a while. Yeah, they've been at a civil war. Hot Mess said yes. Dylan gave a robot bicep. Red Check Mark says similar to the American Stinger launcher. Exactly. Louis says Chinese models smoking that Mexican Schwab. Mark Check Mark says, and those numbers are spreading across all batteries around the world, not just the Middle East. Really? Let's see. Additional interceptor use and new deliveries since the April 8th ceasefire. THAAD deliveries during the ceasefire outpaced estimated use over the same period, resulting in higher inventories today than in April. Patriot calculations included the latest MSE variant in Pack 3s. Several hundred Pack 2s not represented in the chart are estimated to remain in the U.S. inventory. Okay. Well, yeah, that's even crazier if that's the whole supply, you know? P. Murray says, you have no effing idea and not even close. You definitely don't know Trump. What are you referring to? Pipe for You says, we are building guided missiles daily. We will be fine. But so is Iran, aren't they? And if theirs are cheaper than ours, I mean, I'm not saying that. Listen, I'll give my take here for a second while I show the radar, okay? So if you want to see the radar, come over to JaredOnAnIsland, no spaces, YouTube, and then also sub to Crucial. That's 4 L's at the end of that. Come watch on YouTube. I'm showing the radar. Oh,
Did we deploy Trump?
Okay, here's the thing though. This is my take, okay? I think of this as like a Vietnam situation. We had so much more, we did so much more damage to Vietnam than they did to us. If you look at the death toll, there were thousands upon thousands more Vietnamese people that were killed in that war versus US troops. But, even though we had infinite money to use compared to them as well, this is what happens. The US general public didn't want to be in Vietnam. The US government didn't want to spend that much money in Vietnam. We were not having a strategic advantage in turning the North Vietnamese people against communism. Okay. So what eventually happened? You can debate all of those ideas, but we do know one thing. We pulled out of Vietnam, right? And Vietnam did not have to deal with our military there for a while. They lost way more people. They lost way more money. They lost way more stuff on their territory. Okay. And yet they still managed to survive. Iran is playing the same game here. Originally, some people in the chat think that this started because of October 7th. No, this started way before that. Since practically the beginning of Israel, they have said Iran has been a threat and they're trying to build a nuclear bomb. We have been trying to, or Israel and other people have been trying to get the US involved to stop Iran from building a nuclear bomb. Now, after all this time, we had situations like, what was it called? Iran-Contra, or the Iran nuclear deal with Obama. We had other people try to kind of stop, prevent, help out diplomatically, find a solution to this problem. Now, Trump comes along. He's running for a second term. His biggest donor, Miriam Adelson, is an Israeli, dual citizenship. And we can assume they asked for one thing. J.D. Vance, during the re-election, said we will target and strike Iran. He promised it before Trump was even elected. You guys can go look that up. That is 100% true. This was planned to happen. This was planned, okay? Israel wanted it. They had their chance with Trump. They possibly had their chance before. And I'm not even saying this as an anti-Trump guy. I'm not that much of an anti-Trump guy. I want the best for Trump. I really did support him at one point a lot. Now, I don't know. I'm not going to say yes or no, but listen, my speculation is this. This was planned. I think it's very obvious that it was planned. Now we're stuck in the situation. Iran is going to do everything they can to survive. They are not easily persuaded by our propaganda over there because it's very obvious we're not there to give them democracy. We're not there to free them from a tyrannical regime that doesn't care about them, because that's not the case. The case is Iran is a religiously tied government, very concerned for the well-being of its people and the country as a whole. They're going to do what they can to survive. And we killed all of their leadership with airstrikes. Why, as an Iranian citizen, would you proactively want to help the US government? Why would you proactively support the US attacking your homeland? It doesn't make sense at all. Even if, let's assume that Iran was building nukes and Israeli intelligence wasn't lying to us, because we know that Israel has nukes. And they were never allowed to have nukes. They just got them out of thin air, supposedly. JFK, the whole thing with him wanting to check the nuclear stuff for Israel. All of that stuff, you can go into it. But let's assume that Iran has nukes, okay? For the sake of the debate. Iran, what would be their reason to use it on Israel? Because North Korea hates all of the countries around it. South Korea, the US, Japan, they hate those countries. Guess what? North Korea has nukes. Yet North Korea doesn't use the nukes on them. Okay, and we think of Kim Jong-un as insane. And he's the only one that needs to make that decision. Okay? Now, let's take Iran. Let's say if Iran wanted to use a nuke on Israel, what would happen? If Iran used a nuke on Israel, every single country, even the other Middle East countries, would attack Iran. And guess what? Pakistan, their next door neighbor that's also Muslim, has nukes. Pakistan has nukes. India has nukes. India isn't Muslim, but other people in the region have nukes. If Iran were to have a nuke, I really, really do not think that they would use it against Israel. It would be mutually assured destruction. Now, guess who can use nukes right now? If anyone in the whole world was allowed to use nukes, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just talking theoretically here. The 0.5% chance, 0.5% chance, literally 0.5% chance. The one person that could use nukes right now is Trump. And this is why. Because Trump could say, we need to do exactly what we've said now twice, which is a preemptive defensive strike on Pickaxe Mountain. And Trump can use a nuclear bunker buster to stop Iran from building or using nukes. Now, here's the thing. The problem is no one will strike us after that, potentially. Russia, China, whoever else, Europe, they'll all say that was extremely wrong, but they'll all be afraid to use a nuke because then nukes will go flying everywhere. But Trump will go to, the international court or whoever else, and he'll have to make his case on why he thought he was allowed to use nukes. And honestly, they'll all say that he's guilty. They would throw him in jail, whatever else, but it would still happen, right? Like that's how it would happen, and it would be done and dealt with. And maybe Trump, there is a part of people that say Trump wants to make that his legacy, say he did the biggest thing. That would put him in the history books. No one would ever question whether or not Trump was important. Whether or not he's good or bad, people would debate. But that would make him one of the most important people in history if he used a nuke, right? That would solidify him in the textbooks. Now, would he do that? I like I said before, 0.5% chance of it happening. But that's more than 0% chance, right? So it is interesting to think about. Trump said 5 hours ago, Trump said 5 hours ago that we're going to bomb the effing shit out of Iran. And we had strikes an hour ago, but they weren't big. So we've seen. So reading y'all's comments here, lol, even Rome was beefing with Iran back in the day and struggling, calling it Persia at the time. Okay. Okay. Hey, red check mark. Welcome back, man. Okay. Yeah, we are living in interesting times. Yep, Louis. Guys, on TikTok, come over to Jared on an Island on YouTube, or go sub to Crucial with 4 L's at the end. Come check out my radar that I'm showing. I have Flight Radar Premium. We're looking at all the refueler aircraft in the Middle East right now. Come over, join. We're showing footage of the Yemen civil war. We're showing footage of explosions, all of that stuff. And I'm reading YouTube's comments first. So if you have a really big question, go over to YouTube. I definitely will read it there. TikTok, I'll try to read your questions, but there's kind of a lot. So Red Check Mark says, recommended looking up how many interceptors America actually manufactures. It's not a lot. Per year for Patriot interceptors, it's like 400 missiles for all batteries across Earth. Interesting. With Pentagon's bean counters, you'll never get a straight number. That's from Louis. Yeah, I can believe that. Louis says it's just a pyramid scheme to launder money to fund a casino called Wall Street. I could agree with that. Hot Mess says, there you go, Miriam A. Yeah, Miriam and her casino money from Asia. Hot Mess says, exactly. Louis says, you're 100% correct. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, regarding the blood. Yeah. At the end of the day, this is about China and Russia. Interesting. America has become way more selfish. That's why Americans don't donate blood. Red check mark. That's interesting. There has been a big push to say that, a lot of these blood donation companies, they make money off of it. So it is interesting to see that. Red check mark says, hey, Crucial. Louis says, the problem, Jared, is the helium and rare earths that belong to China. They're not going to give us rare earths to build weapons to destroy them with. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Scott says okay, I don't know if I can say that. Dust clouds, weather forecast. Yeah, that would be crazy. Manda, thank you for the follow. Peter says, I think Trump will drop a Moab. Interesting. If Trump uses a nuke, every U.S. base will be attacked. Believe me, that's what Meaning Maker MX says. I trust you. I believe you. ESH, thank you for the follow. Okay, so looking at flight radar here, guys, we have 4 refuelers now in the air in Israel. Now, it seems like 2 are about to land because they've been up in the air for a long time. One has taken off. It's the KC-46A Pegasus. That is a refueler aircraft. And then over Saudi Arabia, we have one aircraft that, let's see where it came from here. Came from Morocco. It's a military aircraft. I don't know what, it's a Dreamliner, so it's some sort of like commercial like transport, I guess. We don't know which country it's for, but it's flying over. Then we got let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is this one right here? 5 refuelers up here in Saudi Arabia. Now, a lot of them have been up for a while. And then we also have a E-11A bombardier. We don't know if it's in the air or what it's exactly doing. It seems like it's just marked on flight radar. Maybe they left their transponder on or something, but it's there. Now, we don't know what these refuelers are doing. I keep saying they're coming back to land. One just disappeared from the radar, so there we have GPS signal jamming, or maybe they're turning their transponder off. But there seems to be a lot of movement here in the Middle East at the moment, at least with planes landing or coming out of the airfield. Billy says, any news in the past hour? Cuz let's take a look here. Probably not for right now. Let's take a look though. I will say nothing officially new right now, but we're still going over all of the other breaking news that's happening right now, and we're keeping an eye on these flight radar passages. So here we go. Reading some more comments. Yeah, I'm not gonna donate blood. Not gonna lie, I don't want to donate blood. Uh, let's see. Herb says, okay, I changed my mind. I agree with you on a lot. I am just a bit more negative. All good, man. Listen, if you guys have something controversial to say, I recommend for you to say, even if you disagree with me, let's talk it out. I'm an open-minded guy. I want to hear all opinions. Kay, thank you for the follow. Spence, thank you for the follow. Adam says, I love Iran. Great people, culture, food. Okay. China can't be stopped now. Too late. That's from Peter. Now that's an interesting discussion. Personally, I believe the only thing that can save us at this point in the economy race is AI, and it's scary. I don't even like the idea of AI being the only thing we rely on. Meaning Maker MX says lots of rescue missions are operations going on in Iran right now. For who? Iran or for the U.S.? Hopefully, we're not trying to rescue people from there right now. But let's see if we can see any more footage here on YouTube. Nah, it doesn't seem to be any. We'll look at the video again of the trucks because that was pretty interesting. Guys, what I'm showing on YouTube right now is in northern Yemen, there's groups, the tribal groups that are fighting there in the Yemen civil war, are all driving in all of these trucks with guns on the back of their trucks. Hundreds of trucks all driving in the desert, all zooming through, showing that on YouTube. Jared on an Island, no spaces. I'll put the link in the chat as well. Make sure to come sub over there and read the drop a comment. I'll read it there, especially. Hot Mess says, love the vibe. Thank you. Okay, yeah, rare earths. China developed a new lithograph machine for domestic production of chips. China is going to outgrow Taiwan's manufacturing capability. Yeah, that's interesting. We need that on our own. I don't know why we outsource that to Europe or China, or I mean Taiwan. Okay, well, I just got a news report of U.S. strikes Iran as widening war engulfs more countries, probably referring to Egypt. Iran's surprise attack ends U.S. ceasefire. Let's take a reading from this. Let's see what source this is. I get these news sources from Bing that show up on my phone, and it's always like really late. This is from USA Today an hour ago. From Washington, a pause in fighting between U.S. and Iran came to a screeching halt after Tehran launched what the Trump administration is calling a surprise attack that American forces in the Middle East only had minutes to shoot down. The July 28th ballistic missile assault threatened to reinvigorate a conflict that President Trump has aimed to wind down after months of negotiations. Trump vowed the U.S. would beat the effing S out of them, he told Fox News. The latest attacks raised fears of a wider war as Saudi Arabia joined the conflict and Iran seeks to test Trump's resolve with the midterm elections looming. We're going to be hitting them very hard because it's our turn to hit them. They know it's coming, Trump later told reporters at the White House. U.S. Central Command said on Tuesday evening that it's coordinated with Saudi Arabia's armed forces jointly to attack Iran's aligned militants in Iraq, responsible for drone attacks on American troops and Saudi energy infrastructure. Iran's attacks came hours after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with Trump at the White House to discuss the war. Netanyahu was still in Washington on Wednesday and met with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at Blair House, the guest house in the White House complex where the Israeli leader is staying. So Netanyahu's staying here for a little bit, I guess. Bro, he needs to go home. That's crazy, guys. So, another topic that I wanted to discuss is like this idea of mainstream news. The average person who's not tuning into these lives, who's not joining us, who's not in the new know-how of news, they're learning about the strikes that happened 2 days ago, literally like today, if they turn on the news. If they don't, they have no idea what's happening. And to them, they think that, oh, we were at peace before that and nothing was happening. Guys, since the ceasefire was started, like stuff happened like, 2 weeks ago now, a week ago minimum. So, yeah, I want to know the condition of Mitch McConnell as well. Adam, you're right. Barb says we are in our allegiance is to our nation, not Israel. Yeah, exactly. I agree. America first. Jason says, oh, well, they are playing by the taco. Yeah. Herb says, our chips require gases from Russia, mechanisms from the US and Taiwan, and China just does it. Yeah. Okay, guys, if you guys want to comment, and you want me to read this, make sure to comment on YouTube, though. It's a little hard to read all the comments on TikTok. Louis says, this is why not even sure nukes are real. Sorry, I thought you said is something else. So, sorry, hold on one second. Cool. So there's the link to my YouTube, by the way, guys. You guys should join there. Corey, thank you for the follow, man. Yeah, so interesting. So they won't even need to waste the ammunition invading Taiwan. They can just create everything domestically. They're amazing. Yeah. Okay. Nukes are just fear mongering like space aliens. Interesting take. Red check mark says America always tries to pause wars to rearm lost stockpiles. Trump's threats mean nothing when America has little ammo. America doesn't have infinite supplies. Yeah. Louis says exactly. Red, and it's also several problems vectoring and converging, like the fuel reserve economy. All of these multiple problems vectoring into one crash point. Yeah. But the problem is you're not dealing with rational seeing people. They all hate logic and they hate science and what to do. When they fail, they double down. Yeah, America first, agreed. Iran wasn't going to sit by for fake peace, so America was going to rearm. Not Israel first. Iran actually learns lessons. Yeah. All right, so let's take a look to see if there's any more footage coming out. Okay, taking a refresh on all my sources here. And you guys can see the sources here on Zitter. I show it on Zitter, but I'm live on YouTube. Jared on an Island sent the link in the chat. Just scroll up a little bit. Hanson, thank you for the follow. Thank you guys. Musa, thank you for the follow. Okay, so here we go. Here's something new. With the United States resuming strikes against Iran, chances of Iranian military action against one or more Gulf states over the coming week have significantly risen on Polymarket. As traders predict, there's a 26% chance that Iran launches strikes against one of the countries on July 31st. And tomorrow is July 30th. So there's a 26% chance now. It seems like everyone's betting actual money that something will happen involving Iran striking someone else besides the United States. So we'll have to see. Pretty crazy though. What do you guys think? Honestly, has anyone considered that Iran could be like betting on themselves in Polymarket? They could just be sharing the information. Like who's gonna arrest them? Themselves? Like they could just steal money that way. Okay, let's take a look for what else. Oh, all right. Flight radar, taking a look. Seems like some planes are landing. What is this? This small little aircraft. Airbus A400M Atlas. Okay, maybe a Jordanian military aircraft. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So yeah, it's starting to get quiet over Saudi Arabian airspace with these refuelers landing. BG, thank you for the follow. Austin says, I don't think they hate logic. They do think they are bringing about the end times, though. Yeah, some people in our government genuinely think that. Zach says, okay, look, man, prediction odds aren't really the odds. It's people guessing. Yes, true, but everyone thinks that they're taking an educated guess. So it kind of pushes like this idea like, oh, based off the information, this is how the general public feels. Uh, so it is interesting to look at. Like, if everyone's saying it's going to happen, they usually have a good reason, right? Red check mark says, let me remind you that South Korea. Okay, Crucial, heard you loud and clear. Let me remind you that South Korea was livid over America removing Patriot batteries to go to the Middle East. Removing assets is not a good sign of stable supplies. Yeah, exactly. Zach says, which becomes a feedback loop. You know what? You're actually completely right. And honestly, that's what I don't like about the betting apps, because that is true. It becomes a feedback loop. People see it going up, everyone invests in it, it goes higher up, and then it's just a false odds, right? But the thing is, I mean, from what we've seen, this attacking back and forth constantly, everything escalating. No one is saying that there's like actual peace. Trump keeps lying about this like idea that Iran wants negotiations. We've heard of no one from Iran openly saying that they want negotiations at this point. Because let's be honest, they don't trust Israel or America to do fair negotiations. We keep sending Jared Kushner, who's like Israel's top guy in our government, like one of the top guys, to do negotiations. Why would they trust that guy? He just got finished like talking about how he wants to make Gaza a vacation beachfront. Why would Iran trust him to be the negotiator? Robert says, you talk about running short on ammo. My God, you are so wrong. I'm not saying it. That's not even speculation. That's from right here, guys. I will show you the source I got it from. We are below half of what we had for the whole interceptor inventory remaining in the U.S. Pre-war, we had 2,330 Patriot missiles. Right now, we have, and this is the high estimate, 827. That's less than half. THAAD missiles. We had 452 pre-war. That's February 27th. Today, July 27th. The high estimate is we have 278. So that's a little bit more than half, but still a lot gone. So what do you think of that, Robert? Robert says, no, absolutely not. You want to provide your source. You ever been to Turkey? Okay, this is from CSIS, which is, I'll get you the source right here. CSIS, you can look that up. CSIS interceptor arsenal amount, and you'll find it. I don't have what that stands for anymore, but if I find it, I'll show you. I did see something else interesting though that I wanted to look at. Okay. Where was it? I just saw it here. Okay, this is from the War Horse, how U.S. troops suffered more than 400 casualties. Okay, now casualties doesn't mean the person is unalive. That means that they're like hurt, you know? So, okay, that's interesting. That's from March to April. There's a lot more casualties than people thought. And those are from Operation True Promise. Interesting. Which was like before the ceasefire, right? Okay. That is true, Robert. You bring a good point. We're only seeing what they have published, I guess. There could be secret stuff. But how are we supposed to know what else besides what they tell us, right? Okay. When I listen to right-wing podcasts talk about our stockpiles are fine, I think back to when we took back from what we took back from Korea. People in the government definitely insider trading on it, though. You're right about that. Yeah. Didn't we also take back Patriot batteries from Ukraine? Zach, you got the president doing his own rug pulls. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my Trump phone. Yeah, but the absolute most disgusting thing of which there are any, it is a very long list, but the most deplorable thing that they've done is lie about the service member deaths. Interesting. But Jared, with regard to the AIA, China is just beating America's in regards to efficiency. Okay. So guys, on YouTube, I am showing the radar and I am showing footage of the stuff that's been happening recently. So make sure to come over to YouTube, Jared on an Island. No spaces, go sub there. And then if you guys heard my co-host earlier, Crucial, that's Crucial with 4 L's, go sub to him too. He's a pretty cool guy. So we're taking a look here, seeing if there's any updates on anything. Let's see. Let's see if we can look up the price of oil real quick. But I'm showing flight radar, so we're seeing all the refueler aircraft in the air right now. There's 4, or at least 3, three now in Saudi Arabia. Seems like 2 are landing in Israel, and 2 are, or at least 1, 2 are over Jordan right now. So let's take a look at the price of crude oil. So yeah, it seems like it's starting to go down as the it started to go down about an hour or 2 ago, but it's still way higher than it was yesterday. It's at $83. Now we did get close to $100 at one point, but you know, it is still high. George Thomas says the U.S. has 800 missiles, more like 10,000. Yeah, we're talking about interceptor missiles. So those are the ones that hit the missiles as they're coming towards U.S. bases or Israel. Now, yeah, that doesn't even count the missiles for the Iron Dome, but this counts for U.S. bases missiles, interceptor missiles specifically. Tina, thank you for the follow. Tatum, thank you for the follow. All right, guys. So we're taking a look here now at all of the ships in the region. This is the Strait of Hormuz. And guys, I'm on YouTube. I'm putting the link in the chat right there. Go ahead and come over and sub and come check it out. I'm showing the marinetraffic.com radar, so you can go look it up yourself too. But I'm going to explain everything here real quick. So all of the bright red dots that you see are oil tankers. The ones that are triangles are moving. The ones that are circles are put. Okay? The green are commercial vessels. So think about the type of ship that, you know, brings in your Timu type stuff. And then blue is like tugboats and other miscellaneous boats. Okay? So as we see here, all of the red and green does not want to seem to cross that tiniest point in the Strait of Hormuz. All of the red is kind of waiting outside of it or heading away from it. And that is because no one wants to take the risk of getting blown up by a missile, of course. Josh, thank you for the follow. Miss Malta, thank you for the follow. So this is the situation of the Strait of Hormuz. Iran says that they are not allowing anyone through the corridor. The U.S. says anyone who stops or comes out of an Iranian port, we will, stop, turn around, take over. Okay. Iran says they eventually want to have full control over the strait, and they say that they deserve to tax people who go through it. Muzuza, thank you for the follow. Black Gator says, Jared, what island are you in, bud? Okay, listen, it's not the island, okay? We all know that one. I'm not there, but I am in a metaphorical island, okay? Yo, Maria, thank you for the roses. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you guys about, which I feel like a lot of you guys don't really consider here, especially for my new TikTok audience. Yeah, Louis, good point. Jared, most people have zero clue and do not care about this. It's insane to me. Yeah. It's because it doesn't affect them yet. But it will. They'll wonder why gas prices are high eventually. So this right here, what I'm showing you right here in the middle of the screen, is the Al-Mandeb Strait, okay? And this is Yemen. Yemen is in a civil war with Ansarullah and Houthis being two of the groups there. But there's a lot of other groups, and there's the Yemeni government, which is like the official government that is there and involved. Okay, so the Houthis and Ansarullah have targeted. Yeah, I can't show this on TikTok, guys. It's against TOS because I didn't make this. So come over to YouTube, Jared on an Island. Scroll up in the chat and you'll see the link. Go there. It's at Jared on an Island. If you do youtube.com/at Jared on an Island, it'll show up. If Jared on an Island with no spaces doesn't show up, but I'm showing it there. So guys, the important thing about this is that all of the green markers are commercial vessels, right? This is how Europe gets most of their commercial goods from Asia, from Southeast Asia, like the Singapore guy in our chat, from India, stuff like that. This is the short route to go through the Suez Canal. Okay. Now, the problem is that Ansarullah and the Houthis are saying any of the red dots that are from Saudi Arabia, we are going to attack. And they have attacked and blown up a couple of the ships. So what does that mean? All of the rest of the ships are saying, we don't want to take that risk. You never know when someone could accidentally shoot at the wrong ship. From Bangladesh, hey, that's great. Bangladesh, that's a crazy country, right below India. Or, to the right of India, right? Crazy country. All right, so anyways, these green ships, they're going to feel threatened to go through the strait. And they're not going to want to take that risk, okay? So what is their alternative? They have to go all the way around Africa. And that is a long path to take. And at least they have the alternative to do that. And it takes, I think, like a couple months extra to go all the way around, if not like a month to go all the way around. So it's so much extra fuel, time, money, right? That's what fuel and time are. There's a lot of extra money that the world economy has to pay to get the same goods that it was getting through there. So things will get more expensive. Now, guys, that is because they have an alternative route. Things coming from Saudi Arabia, the Strait of Hormuz specifically, Iran, no one's getting that oil. That's a lot of money just wasted because of this conflict. And what was the purpose of the conflict? We don't even know anymore, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, Dream Kiwi, thank you for following. IT says disarming, absolutely. Iran, absolutely, yeah. LTO, thank you for the follow. George says US is well prepared to fight half the world. But do we want to, though? I don't want to take that. I don't want that damage for Americans. Country says nukes. Yeah, Maria says thanks to Trump. Okay. Red check mark says idiots believe America has unlimited ammo capabilities. I was a former Patriot operator, 14T. I know the limitations of this platform. If America wasn't running low, why remove batteries from other regions? Good point. Saudi Arabia shut down their largest refinery, losing 400,000 barrels per day. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. Yeah, that's crazy. 400,000 barrels per day. And that was like 2 days ago, yesterday. Even if it was yesterday, that's 800,000 now. And then tomorrow it will be, 1,200,000, right? Ozzy says China has the world's biggest petroleum reserves. They've been drawing on them to limit the oil shock. They can't do that forever, and if they start filing their reserves, the U.S. is cooked. Well, what about the U.S.? The thing about the U.S., and a lot of people talk about this too, is like the U.S. has their own reserves as well. But the thing is, other countries rely on our reserves. Other countries rely on Iran's reserves. Like the guy from Singapore or Bangladesh or the Philippines, they require a lot more of the Middle East oil than we do. So how will they be affected? Nobody's even talking about that. Jackie, thank you for the follow. Bring the Light says they need to take the energy and gas offline. It's the fertilizer shortage. One half of the population gone. Yeah, people talk about that with Russia and Ukraine. Russia had a lot of the fertilizer for the whole world. 2012 versus 2026 says whole Middle East on fire. Houthis are not playing. Yeah. Tony, thank you for the follow. May Christopher, thank you for the follow. All right, let's see if there's any more footage anywhere of what's going on here. Seems like we're like some of these accounts that update everything, they kind of go to sleep pretty early. I think they're from Europe or whatever else. So sometimes there's like no new information at night, But we'll see here. Okay, so sirens are currently sounding in multiple cities across eastern Poland following possible reports of Russian cruise missiles having crossed into Polish airspace. Interesting. Let's listen. Can you guys hear it? I can't hear it yet. It's very faint. I have the volume all the way up. But you can hear it, right, guys? Wow, that's crazy. So that might be a serious escalation from Russia. We'll have to keep an eye on that. That was 35 seconds ago. If Russian cruise missiles have crossed into Polish airspace, that's bad. That's bad. But hopefully, I doubt that they're targeting Poland, but they're probably targeting Ukraine, but the missiles are going over Poland. So 2 minutes ago, initial reports of Russian missiles having entered Polish airspace via border with Ukraine. Okay, interesting. So let's see if we can hear it better in this one. Oh yeah, that's a lot louder. This is a guy recording from his apartment. Oh wow, can you guys hear that? Crazy. If you guys hear that in your hometown, you better run for your life, honestly. Okay, let's check to see if there's anything related to Iran here that's breaking news. We're not seeing anything here. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to look up something else here, and we're going to take a look and see what else is happening here. Okay, so this is just the searches from Iran. So guys, for the next like 5 minutes, do not count anything I say as a verifiable source, okay? So this is all just speculative stuff that is coming out. A lot of it could be possibly fake. Someone said that there was a huge blast 10 minutes ago in Iran, but we'll have to see if that's real or not. Someone says that the U.S. bombed a residence in Qasem Island and people are trying to rescue them underneath the rubble with a video from Tasnim News. I can't verify any of the stuff, guys, like I said, but we'll take a look. U.S. airstrikes hit residential buildings in South Iran, and it shows footage of people like around the rubble and stuff. So hopefully that's not real, but we'll have to see. There's always the problem of unwanted casualties from the civilian side. I don't really believe that they're trying to be hit, but yeah, it could happen. Okay, so what else do we have here? Let's take a look at latest. See what's showing up. Let's see, we got Being News. U.S. strikes in Iran in response to surprise ballistic missile launches. Yeah, so that's a little late, but we'll see here. Let's see what people are talking about. Okay, like, see, this is what I mean. Like, there's just fake news. This guy says World War III monitor who's like, so I don't even know. He has like a picture of himself on there. He says Iranian telegram reports that Marines have landed on the beaches of Iran. Like, I really doubt that's true. I really doubt it. So we'll keep looking though. Um, the institutional lesson of Rolling Thunder was not that air power doesn't work, as it's so often claimed. It was never again escalate gradually while hedging politically. And then this guy says, "I fear we've already forgotten that lesson with Iran." And let's read what happened here because this is pretty interesting. Okay, so Operation Rolling Thunder was a strategic failure and doctrinal legacy, which was in 1965 to 1968. The objective was to boost South Vietnamese morale, okay, without provoking Chinese or Soviet intervention, destroy North Vietnam's transport and industrial base, and halting infiltration to the south. The core design flaw was gradualism. Let's see. This was based off General Maxwell Taylor's theory that an enemy behavior could be shaped through incremental escalation. Civilian planners followed Thomas Skelling's corrosive bargaining logic. Restrict strikes to signal resolve and avoid triggering wider war, rather than inflicting maximum damage. Military planners wanted a decisive strategic campaign. The result satisfied neither model. Johnson laid strict target restrictions on top of a slow bombing buildup, driven by fear that a cornered Vietnam would pull China or USSR into direct combat. Strategists called it a blunder. The critique is not just political. Gradualism denied air power its inherent advantages: flexibility, surprise, and concentration of force in time. Okay, interesting. So let's see. So it basically didn't do what it wanted it to do. It was basically a waste of missiles. Could that be happening now? What do you guys think? Instant Thunder in 1991, targeted enemy leadership for rapid decapitation, the direct inverse of Rolling Thunder's slow interdiction buildup. It adopted until Desert Storm largely unchanged. Interesting. SR71, thank you for the follow. The only reason we're not suffering a massive oil shock already is because China has massively reduced their buying of oil to what is like a 15-year low. The reason China has this massive reserve is for the last 15 to 20 years, they have been buying oil at a massive scale, especially if it dips at a low point. China is the new OPSEC. Interesting. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to check the news one more time, see if there's any updates. We'll check civilian radar and stuff for Poland as well here in a second. Just making sure there's nothing else major happening right now. Yep, okay. So flight radar, there's still 2 aircraft over Jordan, which are refuelers, and then 3 refueler aircraft over Saudi Arabia. So very interesting stuff. Over Poland, southeast Poland, there is a NATO aircraft in the air making circles. Let's see what else is in the air here. German Air Force in Germany, United States coming down to the Middle East. They have a C-17 Globemaster. So let's take a look at commercial flights. We know if something crazy is happening if there's no commercial flights whatsoever near any of it, but it seems like they're good. Now, Eastern Poland right here is neighbors with Ukraine, and Russia does have missiles fly over here. So I think Poland's fine, guys. But anyways, guys, I think I'm going to call it end point here, but I do need y'all's help with something, though. I have an app out, Feed Oil Tracker. It is on the iOS App Store. You guys should go check it out. But if you have an Android, can you guys message me? I need testers for the Android part, so I can have play testers, and then it can get approved on that store. So if you have an Android phone, like Samsung Android, go ahead and message me real quick on TikTok, and I will answer you and send you a link to it. Test it out. I'll give you a year's worth of free premium for it. All of the main parts of the app are free though. Seed Oil Tracker, that's what it's called. Check it out. There's also a website, seedoiltracker.com. But go over to my YouTube, Jared on an Island, no spaces. Go sub there, because I show the radar, I show the footage, I show everything there. If you're on YouTube, drop a like, drop a comment. Yeah, I'll be live as soon as the next big thing happens, usually around nighttime like this time, or a little bit earlier. Maybe earlier if it's breaking news, but I'll try to be live tomorrow because we already know something's going to happen. So make sure to sub on YouTube, though. Jared on an Island, no spaces. Also, go sub to Crucial. That was my co-host, Crucial with 4 L's. He's got great commentary on society as a whole. Yeah, so make sure to sub there, guys. Yo, Hot Mess, thank you for joining in. Ozzy, thank you for being here. Louie, thank you for always being here, man. Red Check Mark, thank you for always being here. Jackal, thank you for the follow. Maria, thank you for the roses again. George Thomas, thank you for being here. Guys, I have a lot of people I need to shout out here for being in the live, man. Like Tatum, thank you for commenting, man. Rob, yeah, I'll make sure to send it to you. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate you. Hot Mess, yeah, thank you very much. Love when you guys are here, especially on YouTube. On TikTok, yeah, support. I appreciate all you guys. MX, I really appreciate you, man. You're always with the news that I don't have. Adam, I appreciate you. Robert, thank you for being in here, man. We had a good discussion. Herb, thank you for being in here, if you're still here. Billy, thank you for being in here. Yeah, thank you guys for coming in. But we'll be live tomorrow. So peace, guys. And peace to YouTube, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Make sure to drop a like, though.